Simi, Titusville, Melbourne, Palm Bay, Rockledge, Yeehaw Junction, all those areas in Osceola, Brevard, and even central and southern Orange County, going back into southern Lake and southern Sumter County. 75 to 100 mile per hour wind gusts are definitely possible. Look at this 100 mile per hour wind gusts, or even stronger. That expands into Lakeland. Now look at the timing of it all. From now to about 2 o'clock in the morning, that's where we're going to see those strongest winds. But notice that this is primarily for our western zones. 2 to 4 a.m., the strongest winds are going to arrive, so we're still chugging even early tomorrow morning. That is basically right up the center of the state at this point. Then you get closer to the coastline, and that's where we could see the arrival of those strongest winds between about 4 and 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to take its time as the system continues to progress toward the coastline. And if it keeps on going at that clip of, 16 miles per hour, it's going to be a process that we all have to get through. Now, as far as power outages are concerned, we're definitely seeing them tally up quickly, and we'll continue to see all these numbers change as we head into the next couple of hours. But as of right now, these are in thousands, okay? We have about 50,000 people without power in Marion County. Look at Volusia and Lake County, as well as Orange County. About 25,000 per county are without power. Osceola has about 10,000, but look at Polk County. Around 100,000 people without power right now. I mean, we're talking about very strong wind gusts into that Polk County area where I showed you that you could see wind gusts exceeding 100 miles per hour. So that is definitely going to take out a lot of the power lines that we see in our area. So Brevard, Flagler, and Putnam County, a little over 1,000 people in each county without power. We're getting closer. It's not the baby blue, it's the turquoise that gets right up there to about 5,000. So I would say anywhere between 1,500 up to about 3,000 people currently without power there. But look at this. We're going to zoom out and show you the entire state. Look at that. 2.1 million people.
Without power?
Without power, as of right now. Now, you're probably like, what's this? Going up the Carolinas, right? Now that's from Helene still.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're still seeing, big numbers from Helene. But when we talk about what Milton has done, we saw the entire state of Florida. I remember covering this with meteorologist Jonathan Keggis. When we were doing Helene, this is the number that we saw in the state of Florida before it even reached Georgia. So this was well before the system had even made landfall at that point. So power outages could be extensive. I mean, they're already widespread. You see that. But as far as the period of time it's going to take for that power to come back on, it could be, hours, it could be days, it could be weeks, it could be longer than that, depending on the amount of damage that we're seeing. And when I go back to this graphic, we're talking about our county by county. Polk County, y'all might take the longest to get your power back, just because of the amount of people that are without power, the amount of damage that we're going to really be assessing over the next day. Once the sun comes up and we see all those damages coming in, I mean, we're talking about trees down. My son gave me a report that his boss has a tree on his house right now, and he is in Sanford. So we're talking about these wind gusts being strong enough to uproot trees, definitely do some canopy damage, bringing a lot of those limbs down, big limbs. And then we also have just flying debris everywhere. I mean, you saw parts of, the roofs and stuff coming off of those structures in a lot of our live reports, like with Molly over along the coastline in Volusia. So those types of things are going to happen. We told you with Category 1 and 2 storm wind gusts, the kind of damage that you could see would definitely be to roofs. We're talking shingles. Most roofs, I do believe, are okay, with the exception of the stadium, the Tropicana Stadium in Tampa. That's outside our area, but still very unfortunate. But we could see, siding removed. We could see shingles all over the place. There could definitely even be some big-time structural damages to some mobile homes. So that's the type of damages that we're going to be looking for. There's going to be downed power lines. We've already seen the power out, right? In addition to that, all the rain that is continuing to fall. So we don't need you to go outside your home and do damage assessments. Stay indoors and stay safe, because you could easily get hurt. Matt and Ginger?
Yeah, that is for sure. And when you see those numbers in Polk County and then statewide, you realize why all those linemen were stacked very deep
Yes.
throughout the state of Florida.
Many of them we had shown you were in Sumter. There were thousands of those linemen in Sumter waiting to just spread out. And it does go to show, when you look at those power outages, the southern part, even though when you look at the radar, all of the rain is up top, but they've been telling us the whole time, it's still the dirty side on the bottom. Those powerful winds on that right bottom quadrant there as it has come in. Polk County is right there, and it's still dealing with it, and I'll be curious to see what happens when it goes into Osceola as well. Right now, Mike DeForest, he's back up north where all the rain is hitting. He is live in the Villages dealing with some sort of squall right now. Mike, tell us about the conditions.
Down.
Yeah, it just continues to keep growing, which obviously makes sense as this storm gets closer, and we're still a distance away. We are in the Villages, and I'll tell you, one thing you're not seeing in the Villages today, people riding around in golf carts, because if you did, you wouldn't be able to keep them on the road right now. It is just extremely strong gusts, and I just can't get over just the non-stop rain that has been on here. We're not seeing any flooding right where we're at here in this neighborhood of cottages in the Villages. I do know other parts of Sumter County are seeing some flooding, and the winds have been taking on trees for several hours now. This part that we're in, the developed parts of the Villages, the homes are built to withstand even no concern, although I do know there is a lot of concern for the folks who live here. A lot of the people who live in the Villages have not been here through a major hurricane yet. The population here has just exploded over the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And so with that, for some, this is their very first storm. And I know there has been a lot of concern going into this. The good news is, at least where we're at, the homes seem to be holding up excellent. But it's still a mess out here with just strong winds and rain. Oh, I thought we were getting a little bit of a break. It seemed to be dying down. Obviously, what we're going to experience here is much different than closer to the eye of the storm as it moves through southern Osceola County right now. But nonetheless, it is still so windy here that here in Sumter County, emergency officials have suspended all emergency response. I know that's happening all over Central Florida at this point. It's just still simply too dangerous for those firefighters, paramedics, and other emergency crews to come out and rescue someone in these winds and rain. So right now they've had to suspend those services and wait until this dies down before they can safely get out there to take care of folks, which is always a shame, certainly a concern up here in the Villages. And again, we're far from the eye of this storm up here, but it just goes to show the power that this thing has as we're so far away kicking here. We have fortunately not seen many people out here. I think they're all heeding the county warning, which was to shelter in place in your home and ride this thing out. And but it's become quite a ride. I just can't get over the wind gust that we're experiencing here. I didn't expect to see this right where we were at. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Mike DeForest, I'm pretty impressed by that neighborhood there because you've been out there a while. We've clocked 64-mile-per-hour winds, and it seems like I haven't seen a lot of things blowing around outdoors, so they must have done a good job securing their stuff. Haven't seen anybody driving around out there, so Mike DeForest, we'll check back in with you in a bit.
All right, we're going to check in now with News 6's Molly Reed. She is in Volusia County, where the wind is also whipping up out there. Molly, what are you holding?
Yeah, Ginger, I'm holding a street light, so I don't think I've ever done this before, but here's the green, here's the yellow, and I have no idea where the red is, but this is a very good example of why you don't drive during a curfew, during a storm, because this fell into the ground, and then a car ran over it, and he was very shocked that he ran over something, pulled into the middle of the road, checked his damage, and then saw us all staring at him like, dude, what are you doing, and got in his car and started speeding off. So, yeah, there's now pieces of street sign flying all over here on A1A in Daytona Beach. But, yeah, you can definitely see the wind is picked up. But we're running on a backup generator here at our hotel because the power has gone off around it. And as you guys keep saying, I mean, this isn't even the worst of it. But, again, classic example of why you heed the warning of doing a mandatory evacuation and a curfew if you decided to stay. Because if that guy, when he took off, if he had gotten hurt, the first responders would have had a very difficult time getting to him at this time. That's why they put that in place. So yeah, the wind is definitely picking up here in Daytona Beach. A lot of the power's going out. We're seeing the what are the big transformers blowing all over with the green. And again, it is now, what time is it? 12:40. So we're getting close to that high tide we've been talking about all night because of the high tide mixed with the storm surge and how it's going to blow over. Again, I checked in the back over, we're staying right on the beach side on A1A. I checked over by the pool again, and it's really splashing over the back. We can't see anything because, of course, it's turtle season. We can't have lights on back there, so we can't show you it in the middle of the night. But again, that's why it's so dangerous to be here with the potential for flooding. We're probably going to be heading inside here pretty soon because of that risk. Because again, when it starts flooding, you don't have any power, you can't see, creates a pretty big danger. Now, the other big thing, of course, about this, which our meteorologists have been talking about too, is once the storm does move out here, we're going to have another high tide, of course, tomorrow when the storm is over in the Atlantic, and we're going to see that same thing during the day tomorrow too. So there's going to be a big risk of the flooding over here beachside because of that. Now, again, we've been checking in all over. We're seeing some flooding over in Edgewater as well. I know some homeowners I've been talking to say it's starting to creep into their houses over in Deltona. I know they're seeing some flooding there too. So it's going to be one of those situations yet again where, of course, the storm has to hit overnight. We wake up to see what exactly happened. And as you guys keep saying, this isn't even the worst of it just yet over here, which is pretty crazy to believe considering I was just holding a street light. And yeah, there's like black pieces from the street light all over the place, and we've been seeing roofs, shingles, things like that already flying off. So again, we'll see what it looks like here in the morning, but yeah, I think that storm surge with the high tide here in a little bit is going to be pretty interesting as far as its impact here on the beach side. Back to you guys.
Molly, the other question with all of this is the rain, because Candace says some of the models are actually giving your area of Volusia County some of the most rain. We're talking double digits, 10 to 12 inches.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think that area is going to handle
Oh, yeah.
that?
I mean, well, and that's the whole thing. I mean, beachside, you know, it's low level, so they'll probably get some water. But that's why we kept talking about that area in Edgewater. I've been, you know, doing reports there for the last week because of the amount of flooding they have had from much lesser storms. After, I think it was last weekend, they had sustained rain rain that went on for about 2 hours straight. And they had flooded yards, flooded streets everywhere. So you can imagine what it's going to look like after this. That's why a lot of the big concern is looking at those areas. That's why they had the mandatory evacuations there too. But, you know, people in Floridians, a lot of them are saying we're going to stay with the houses. So I know a lot of them are already fighting some floods in their homes now.
Yeah, you know, Molly, when we first came to you, you were holding parts of the street light, and that's just a really good example.
Yeah, it's right here.
Of how big those things are, because they're up high, right? Look at it, it's bigger than your head.
My head.
Yes, exactly. So when something like that falls down on a car that shouldn't be there, it could do some serious damage.
Right, and Ginger, that's the whole thing. I mean, he comes in, he hits, blasts at the smithereens, then gets out of his car because clearly it had a little bit of damage. Then sees us all staring at him like, what are you doing out here? Stop driving around. And he was also going a lot faster than 35. So I hope he got to wherever he needed to get to very desperately. But yeah, a great example of why you heed the warnings.
Yeah, absolutely. Molly, you're doing a great job out there. Thank you. I love your enthusiasm. It's
Thank you, Molly.
All right.
All right, now we have been showing you serious damage from Fort Pierce all night. We've been talking about this one. This one's really devastating stuff. A monster. This is not the Midwest. This is Fort Pierce tornado. Ripped across the turnpike here. Look at the size of that funnel cloud there. It flipped over cars. There's confirmed damage to homes, and the sheriff of St. Lucie County confirmed they are responding to at least one death. I heard multiple deaths. Look at these cars flipped over. This is at the Spanish Lakes Country Club. It is a few miles north of the highway. Homes were shredded in this area from that gigantic thing that came through.
Oh, that's heartbreaking to see
I'm worried that area right there is going to be the story that people nationally are talking about at the end of going into
the headline
tomorrow.
On that one is going to be really
a sad story.
take.
55 and over community there. A lot of damage done, and hopefully they find the people in that debris.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, as we've been telling you, a very serious situation right now. There were multiple people have been killed as those tornadoes had touched down.
Yeah, the people living there say they had very little warning. Reporter Nikkei Carrero from our Miami sister station is there with an update now.
That's right, guys. Give me a second. We had a wind gust coming through. As you see, it pushed me back a little bit, but I just want to show you some of the damage we're seeing out here in Fort Pierce in this gated community. A palm tree is laying in the middle of the road, and this is just one example of the extent of the damage caused by tornadoes that came through this place. We actually have a house here that has a dumpster that they said came from the country club in this community that landed, scraped these cars, landed on top of the car, and it's unbelievable the sights you're seeing here. The guy who owns this home, John, he tells me he screwed in his hurricane shutters, and the tornado ripped them right off. And here is John with us right now. John, can you talk about, the moments the tornado was coming through? What did you,
Yeah, it was a very scary moment. It's a lot of sounds, the pressure in. Now, I've never, Florida resident for 30 years, so I'm used to hurricanes, but not tornadoes. And that was the third tornado within an hour and a half. And the first one wasn't too bad. The second one got a little bit worse. And this one, we literally thought the house was coming apart. And you could hear sounds and banging. And apparently, we were in the back of the house, but you could still hear a 1,200-pound dumpster hit your garage, smash into two vehicles and hit your garage door. This is a friend of ours' car who came over here to be safe. And there's a dumpster on the hood of her car. That car is totaled, and we have one in the garage that is still in pristine condition. I can't get it out.
And it's not just, your yard, it's the entire community.
No, if you look down, if you go down this whole, everybody who had their cars in their driveway for probably 7 or 8 houses that way, all their cars are destroyed. They're totaled.
Thank you, John, so much. We wish you the best of luck. And in this area, we are seeing blown out windows, blown out doors, all caused by tornadoes. And this is just an example of destruction. And actually, the St. Lucie County Sheriff, he has confirmed that there have been deaths due to these tornadoes. And they are expecting this to be a long night. Back to you guys in studio.
No shocker that there are deaths reported when you see the damage and destruction done.
The power of that thing to be able to pick up a dumpster and throw it on a car. And
incredible.
It seemed like it was on the ground for a while, much longer. We usually have EF0s around here, come down, hurt a few houses, but this was a whole neighborhood just taken.
And John, they're saying he's used to hurricanes, but not tornadoes. And we have seen some really powerful tornadoes in our area tonight. Let's get out to News 6's James Barbero. He is in Cape Canaveral. I know earlier you were in a different spot in Cocoa and we saw the destruction there. Tell us what's happening where you are right now, James.
Right, Matt and Ginger. Well, we're doing pretty good for the moment. We've been able to stay dry for the past couple of hours. It was pretty calm here in Cape Canaveral up until a few minutes ago, and now it's getting pretty gusty again. But we're in that safe place that we've designated to be in for the rest of the evening as the storm, as we expect, exits Florida via Brevard County overnight, maybe 6 in the morning. I think that's our latest time. But I can talk about what we saw earlier. It was 5 or 6 this evening when it looks like we're going to be able to confirm a tornado touchdown in Cocoa Beach. And ultimately, Brevard County Fire Rescue says 8 homes and buildings were damaged. I saw some of the worst of that damage at the Publix Plaza south of the 520, at the Supercuts, and the Florida Eyewear Associates. So those 2 businesses share the same building. I found out since my report back in the day that was a Blockbuster, and it was jarring just how badly damaged both of them are. The light on the sign of the Supercuts was actually on, but that was the only activity. Once you got closer, you immediately knew something was wrong. And the windows were blown out of that building. Now, the building itself was okay, but the building was designed with glass windows around the entire building. And they didn't board up. I didn't see any plywood. I didn't see any hurricane shutters. So, unfortunately, when a tornado, we're expecting to be confirmed, touched down there, it blew out those windows, and the businesses are severely damaged, if not totally destroyed. So, those were the first two buildings I saw that got hit really hard. And then, Ginger, you and Lisa told me that we had also heard about the Wells Fargo across the street. Somebody told us that there was damage there. Now, where I was standing at the time in the plaza looking across the street with no lights on over there, it was very hard to tell what had happened. So when we ended our report there, I went across the street and we saw the roof caved in at the Wells Fargo. At the front of the building, if you can think about how Wells Fargos are designed, they have those pillars in the front, and then the roof is kind of suspended over those pillars like an awning. Well, at the front of the building, that had all collapsed. Those pillars were on the concrete and in the parking lot. And then in the back of the building, the pillars were actually still intact, but there was a whole heck of a lot more debris. Wood, nails, just everything in the parking lot there. I also found out that even the mayor of Cocoa Beach, Keith Capizzi, who earlier today on Facebook, he had warned that tornadoes were his biggest fear with this storm. Well, he lives in that area, and he says that his house and yard got damaged by the storm. So that's what happened earlier, and that seems to be really the only significant piece of news so far in Brevard County as far as damage is concerned. Yesterday, we reported that Health First's hospital in Cocoa Beach, that's Cape Canaveral Hospital, they evacuated 27 patients to their other hospitals in the county just out of an abundance of caution. Then today, with the tornado warnings, that's when we really got our first piece of serious news with significant damage to report to you. Now, for the rest of the evening, you never know. Perhaps we have seen the worst. I know the storm is expected to come through here in Brevard County, but by 6 a.m., you can never really predict exactly what's going to happen. So for right now, I'm standing in my neighborhood where I live in Cape Canaveral. It's gotten gusty. The trees across the street are blowing. And my neighbors next door, they live in a mobile home park. And mobile homes, people who live in neighborhoods that flood easily, those were the people that the county was really concerned about. And so that's who the county was advising to come to the shelters that they opened today. And we got word they were opening 3 shelters about 24 to 30 hours ago. And today, I actually saw that the county announced they opened a 4th shelter, and they put it in Port St. John, so more North Brevard. Someone from Titusville today had actually reached out to me that they were worried because they didn't think the shelters were close enough to them, because the closest one before the Port St. John one that they opened today, it was in North Cocoa at the Walter Butler Community Center. So that's really the word for right now, Matt and Ginger. It's horrible to hear what happened in St. Lucie County. Certainly makes me thankful that we're okay. We're doing okay here for right now, but I'm definitely thinking about those people that have been affected, and their hearts are broken tonight.
Oh, James, we all are thinking about them because they're our neighbors after all. You know, and I was talking to Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos, and she wanted me to tell you that it was that debris field that they picked up on radar earlier today was indeed some of the streets you were naming off. That was the tornado that most likely got the supercuts and the eyeglass place. So you were right on it when you were naming those streets off. So thank you for that, and just stay safe tonight, and we'll just think and take care of each other. Thanks, James.
All right, James, we appreciate it. Now, I was just getting a little look at the wind field. Where
I saw you side-eyeing.
I was taking a gander, and it looks like things are escalating, at least according to that graphic, where investigator Eric Sandoval is. He's live in Kissimmee. Ooh. I'm curious, you're on the dirty side of that storm. Is the situation starting to escalate there, Eric?
It's ebbing and flowing a little bit, Matt. You know, the wind comes, the rain comes, and then it dies down a little bit. I was looking at the radar too, and you know, just our luck. Our position seems to be riding what was the eye wall of the storm. And you know, as the storm is circulating like this, we're just riding the eye wall. We're not even getting to enjoy a respite inside the eye of the storm. We're just riding the rim there. I want to talk about two things, though. I do want to talk about the wind. And since I saw you last, we have seen just a couple things, you know, fly through the air. Just a couple, and that's the good thing. This Disney gift sign right here, for a while, part of the LED screen, which is now dark, was rattling, and then we saw it start to hang off. Eventually, we saw the wind just carry it off, and it must have taken it farther down the parking lot there, because I can't even see it. The wind is also wreaking havoc with the electrical system here. Photojournalist Homer Salcedo shot some great video that I want to show you right now of transformers blowing up in the night sky here in Osceola County. I just checked with Kissimmee Utility Authority. They're estimating that there's about 9,300 households right now that are without power. For a while, we were seeing the electrical system sort of self-repair. We would see the number, you know, climb really quickly, and then all of a sudden it would go right back down. And that was thanks in part to a lot of the transformers and the electrical grid sort of the computer resetting everything and then bringing back power. But you know, as you can see, I just want to take this off. We're along Highway 192 here in the Kissimmee area, right by Highway 535. We've been watching the transformers all around us all night, just waiting for them to blow. But you know what? So far, so good. We still have power all around this area. I think we're part of the lucky ones right now. One thing I did want to ask our Chief Meteorologist, Candace Campos, though, am I right in assuming that we're just riding that eye wall? Because we do get some fierce winds every now and then, and we just keep waiting for that break, for that eye to hit us. I'll send it back to you guys and wait for that answer.
Okay, I don't know if we have Candace's mic up. Is that about where the eye wall is, Candace?
Right now, the eye is pretty much over Bartow, Fort Meade area, so we're still talking about that center. Okay. Now, that center is pretty wide. I honestly don't think right now, Eric, you have actually seen the worst of the wind just yet. I do think between now and about 2 a.m. we could be dealing with kind of the worst of the weather. And you are right, you won't be going right over, like, and at this point in time, the center is not a clear eye like it was with Eric Von Aken. So you're certainly going to be feeling some pretty rough conditions between now and about an hour or so.
All right, good for everybody here in the Kissimmee area to know, too. Batten down the hatches. We're not done with this thing yet.
Yeah, brace yourselves a little bit.
Next hour or so, sounds like. Eric Sandoval, stay safe. Thank you.
All right, and of course, we are also keeping a very close eye on our coastal counties tonight for very good reason.
All right, News 6's Treasure Roberts joins us live from Flagler County. I think we might have just
lost
Treasure. Okay. Let's, so can we go to her? All right, all right, we're gonna go to weather. So it's been an interesting evening, that's for sure. We have
that's probably the understatement of the night.
We have taken
interesting evening.
As my brain resets here. We got Treasure back. We have voices in our head. That's why things get complicated. Let's get you over to Treasure Roberts, who is live in Flagler County. We want to get an update there so the folks who live there know what's going on. And it seems like things are getting windy there. Treasure?
Yeah, man, I think it's so windy that it knocked out my IFB. That's why we had a little bit of a delay there. But yeah, the wind gusts are getting really strong here. I mean, fortunately, nothing has fallen over but this trash can behind us. The trees have really been blowing so hard in the wind. Take a look at this. And it's really pushing the water in this direction. It looks like everybody who has come to this hotel to evacuate is in for the night. They've even locked the front doors. We've met people who drove all the way up from Tampa. They said that they weren't taking any chances. But I understand, because look at how this is over here. I'm really just thinking about the coast. Last night we were right on the coast, right off the beach, and the winds were really strong then. I could only imagine how they are right now, and the storm surge. I mean, I talked to you all about how they did a project this year. The Florida Department of Transportation led a project where they put in buried seawalls because the dune system is so fragile. And so people who live in this area, who live in Flagler Beach, were very happy to hear that. But I am wondering right now how that's holding up with all of this water and all of this wind. But here in Flagler County, I'm just hoping that nobody's on the road. We can't see the road from where we are right now because we are in a pretty safe location at our accommodations. But there was a curfew set for 7 p.m. and it does not end until 7:30 a.m. If you are on the If you are on the road, that would probably be a really bad idea. We're shielded by a building and this wind is just got really crazy. For a second there. We are behind a building. If you are on the road, Flagler County, the Flagler County Sheriff's Office says that you will be arrested if you're not out there for a legitimate reason, or if your reason isn't on their exceptions list, which means, you know, you have a work shift that you can't miss. You have to be there. You're an essential worker. So there's no reason for you to be outside. I mean, looking at Molly's live hit earlier, I think that's a really good example. That could have fallen on somebody's car, the street light. So just take it easy. I do want to show you something though. I talked to you a lot about the Flagler Beach neighborhood on Palm Drive, where they already saw flooding at around 4 or 5 p.m. this evening. And when we were out there, we were looking at the waterway right across from the homes. And when we got there, the water was still out in the water. It was not on a park, on a road, on a lawn. And then as we watched the water, it just steadily, crept up into that small park. And my photojournalist and I thought, what if we put a GoPro out here to monitor how much that water is moving in toward the road. So I just want to have you all take that up, put that up on the screen. It's about 30 seconds. But for context, I do want you all to know that we thought about it, but that was after the water had already made it into the park. So it does start with it in the park, but over about maybe, I would say 2 to 3 hours, you could see that it was behind this swing set. And then it moved in front of the swing set. Now, we had left there, so I am so curious about where it is now. I really do believe that at this point, it is probably filling the road. The people who live in that neighborhood, I mean, they have gone through this time and time again. And just imagine how frustrating that is. After big storms, you have to take out your kayaks to get down your street, and you have to buy new furniture. So they did try to prepare as best as they could. They put up sandbags. They moved their cars to elevated areas like a Publix. But I guess we won't really find out what happened until tomorrow. In Flagler County, Treasurer Roberts getting results, News 6.
Yeah, Treasurer, what a great idea to do that time lapse, because that really does show us how quickly things escalated. And I would be curious to see if you guys head out there tomorrow. I bet you won't even be able to find that swing set.
Yeah, there won't be any grass.
Yeah, exactly. Treasurer, thank you, and be careful.
Okay, so she was out there. We saw the wind gusting.
Winds. Yeah.
You had gusts of 61. A couple of those look like they might break 61.
Well, I mean, and at the end of the day, that's those gusts, right? So within the last 30 minutes, the gusts were at 61. So, of course, we're going to continue to see the fluctuate just south of where she's at into Daytona Beach, where Molly's at. We're now clocking wind gusts upwards of 70 miles per hour. So, again, wind gusts, not sustained. Yeah. The area where we are more concerned about those sustained winds is more towards the Osceola County area. Kissimmee, Eric Sandoval kind of asking about that eye wall. Where is that main damaging swath going to be focused on? Sure. As of right now, it's still in Polk County. Right now, the power outages are climbing very quickly in Polk County for obvious reasons. That's where the center, still Category 2 hurricane, by the way.
100,000 people without power in Polk County alone.
Polk County alone. Over 2 million already in
the
Florida.
state, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take it to what there it is. There are the winds versus the wind gust. I know there's a lot of numbers on that screen, so let's pull the screen full here just to help
break it down.
See it. Yeah, there's a 78-mile-per-hour wind gust actually in Daytona Beach.
Oh my gosh, that'll knock you off your feet.
Right, yeah. I mean, at 54 there in DeLand. We have had some people call us that the Villages is an interesting little reporting station where they kind of pick up the last peak wind within the last hour or so. So that's not the most...
You're not buying that 18?
I'm certainly not buying the 18 because look just south there in Leesburg and Claremont. We're talking about wind gusts of 63. Orlando right now, that is a hurricane force wind gust there of 74 miles per hour. So here in Central Florida, we've been talking about it. We've been talking that the threat for wind, sustained winds, tropical storm force winds really can't be ruled out. But of course, when we start talking about those hurricane force gusts, it could extend as far north as Orange County as we continue to watch that swath of Hurricane Milton continue to cross through parts of Central Florida. So the rain, it's really starting to increase across much more of areas of Seminole and Volusia County. Models have been showing that this is really going to be that zone that we can rack up a lot of rain in a short amount of time. We do have an emergency flash flood warning. The good news is that the conditions seem to subside there. Nonetheless, that flash flooding remains in effect. And then everywhere else in Central Florida until about at least 6 a.m. So let's talk about daybreak is when these flash flood warnings are expected to start coming down. So let's start zooming in, give you an idea of what's going on. Right now, we are finally starting to see a little bit of relief across areas of Kissimmee into the Oak Ridge area. But the big bulk of the heavy rain is now pushing into areas just north of Orlando. So you can see here up to Altamont Springs, Chuliota, Osceola in Seminole County, South Mirror, Maytown, Oak Hill, Shiloh, Allenhurst. Now, this is that zone in Volusia County that, Matt, you mentioned that a lot of those models were picking up double-digit rainfall totals, and this is going to be the zone that certainly will have that potential. Just look how beet red all of these areas are here up and down 95 in Volusia County, and then down I-4 south in pretty much out of Volusia County into areas of Sanford. We are going to continue to watch these water levels really start to rise in and around Lake Jessup, Lake Monroe, all those kind of waterways there in and around Seminole County that we have so many homes and neighborhoods and businesses lining up along so many of these waterways. Certainly going to be a big concern throughout the overnight. And the problem is it is overnight, so we aren't able to get visuals as easily as if it would have been in the middle of the day. Umatilla, Fruitland Park, Leesburg, all these areas right now dealing with just kind of the bulk of the rain. And we're going to continue to see a lot of this kind of stream in. Now, I wanted to show you here. There it is. It's hard to see it with all the other bright colors, but kind of in this zone in and around San Lando Springs, we are also talking about that flash flood warning, really specific, and that's because it is the Little Wekiva River, and that one's expected to crest very quickly. A flash flood going from basically no flood stage to major flood stage within the next few hours. And then out through Port Orange, Daytona Beach, again, still some of those pockets of some heavy rain. In and around Flagler Beach, where Treasure is, we're continuing to see a lot of those heavy rain bands continuing to lash parts of Flagler County as well. In the meantime, though, parts of Osceola County, most of Brevard County at this point in time, with the exception of that far northern fringe of Brevard, we are mainly dry for now, but the concern shifts more from just rain to actual wind. We just got the 1 o'clock advisory while I was on there talking to you guys. We went now down to a Category 1 hurricane. So that is good news that we are starting to continue to see that weakening trend. Winds right now at 90 miles per hour. That is sustained. At the end of the day, the forecast cone still hovering in and around Kissimmee into parts of Orange County as well. So the overall track expected within this storm is expecting to be right over areas of Kissimmee within the next few hours and then exiting out of Port St. John, Merritt Island as we head into daybreak tomorrow, but still holding on to Category 1 strength. Then the concern then flips to the other issue, which is going to be storm surge. Look at all that rainfall. Again, that main zone right now where we're seeing the worst of the rain. Models have been really honing in on this for the last several days. Double digits between 10 to 15 inches of isolated amounts can be expected within some of these zones. Now, of course, we're talking about those wind gusts up to about 75 to 100 miles per hour. We officially got that wind gust report out of MCO. So, of course, right there on that northern fringe of what we were forecasting to have those expected wind gusts. And that will, of course, continue to increase for areas of Osceola County and into Brevard. So, again, when we talked to Eric Sandoval, we talked about in the next couple minutes, within the next 30 minutes to an hour, we were going to see kind of that overall eye wall of Milton starting to approach Kissimmee. So I would be interested to see in the next 10 to 15 minutes what the live shot looks like there in Kissimmee with Eric Sandoval. Again, only if it is safe enough for him to do so. The good news is the supercell potential, the threat for strong to severe storms, not in the forecast, but the threat for damaging winds, flooding rains, and also storm surge. We can't forget about that for our coastal communities. More on that. Meteorologist Samira Kokinas is standing by with more.
Absolutely. So when we talk about as Milton continues to make its way toward the Atlantic coast, emerging in the Atlantic around daybreak, what we're going to notice is that as it moves its offshore, we're going to see those winds pushing the water out. That's why when you look down beyond, I would say, Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie, they're actually going to see that negative surge, so that water getting pushed away. That's why the storm surge amounts were only about 1 to 3 feet. But when we look at the winds coming back around Milton, that's what's going to help push a lot of that storm surge into areas like, I would say, northern Brevard County along the coastline, going all the way down to near even Palm Bay, and then extending all the way back up into that Flagler County coastline. Anywhere between about 3 to 6 feet of storm surge is quite possible. And I mean, this is a worst case scenario, but when you add tides into that, of course, that's when they really get ramped up. We're coming up on high tide right now early in this morning on Thursday. But when we look at the tide pattern, you're thinking, oh, well, low tide is going to help it a little bit. It might just a little bit, but you're talking about the same time where Hurricane Milton is going to be kind of just exiting, going into the Atlantic around that daybreak time. So it could be a little bit offshore, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make a difference. And then here comes high tide right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon or just before that at our area beaches. So then, of course, the water is still relatively high. But the next round of low tides between about 7 and 8:30, or 7:19 for Flagler Beach, but you look at the others, we have 8:33 and 8:27 for Daytona Beach and Cocoa Beach. That's when we could start to see some improvement in the storm surge. So it's going to take a little bit of time. This is a big storm. It's going to be exiting. It's going to get a little bit raggedy, but the thing is, it's going to continue to push away. And as that happens, we'll begin to see gradual improvement. So it's not going to be immediate, and it's definitely going to be a big impact along our coastal counties. So when we look at the wind and wind gusts again, I'm going to reiterate this for, I know Candace just showed you, but look at Claremont right now with a wind gust of 63 miles per hour along with Leesburg. But look behind us, we're talking Winter Haven about 26, and we've seen wind gusts up in the 60 and 70 mile per hour range for Winter Haven. Areas back toward Lakeland still gusting at 62 miles per hour, but that is in that highlighted pink area, which I'll show you in just a moment, for those wind gust potentials to be exceeding 100 miles per hour or so. Looking across the rest of Central Florida, we're seeing wind gusts at 78 miles per hour in Daytona Beach and 62 miles per hour in Cocoa Beach. And all of this, again, is as it begins to transition, we're not going to see an immediate decline in winds because high pressure is going to settle in behind the front that is pushing this system offshore. And then what we'll see from there is cooler, drier air coming in to help us clean up, but it's still going to be windy through at least Friday with gradual improvement expected by the end of the weekend. So strongest wind gusts so far tonight from Milton, a 7, and this was as of a little bit before midnight. So Daytona Beach, 76 miles per hour. I will be updating this one shortly to 79 miles per hour. So 79. Winter Haven around 73 miles per hour, and then you see Sanford had a 63 mile per hour wind gust, Orlando at 55 miles per hour, and Flagler a 51 mile per hour wind gust. So I'm going to go back in there and kind of update those as they continue to change. A lot of this data is changing relatively quickly with everything going on right now because we're kind of in the thick of it. So looking at this, still a strong Category 1 hurricane as it moves a little bit more toward that northern Brevard County coast to exit. the timeline for the worst winds to arrive. We're coming up here on the 2 o'clock fringe right here. So I'm thinking 1:30, 2 o'clock as we get closer to that Kissimmee, Orlando area, possibly lingering through about 4 o'clock in the morning and then continuing toward the coastline 4 to 6 o'clock in the morning. But I want to show you this, and you'll notice that all of the orange 55 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts, we can't rule out maybe a few wind gusts really exceeding that, primarily on that coastal zones, right? But in the red that you'll notice, it includes Orlando and areas to the south. That is about 75 to 100 mile per hour wind gusts. And then this hot pink area, that includes portions of Polk County. Notice including that in Lakeland. This is where we saw earlier today from 1:19 to 3:40 in the afternoon, so that's roughly 2 hours and 20 minutes, 9 tornado warnings were issued, okay, during that time period. That's a lot. It was a very active afternoon. Now they're getting the damaging winds associated with Milton passing by. This was ahead of the storm, the rain bands that came in, associated still with the storm, but now we're seeing the actual impact around that eye. So look at this. Right now, power outages are in the thousands, so we're talking about 100,000 people in Polk County without power tonight. This number, I do believe, will continue to go up tonight, and especially it'll start to expand. We've already seen it expand. Earlier, about 20 minutes or so ago, maybe before 1 o'clock this morning, we had just had Marion County at about 50,000 outages. Lake and Volusia were at 25,000. Now we're looking at Lake and Volusia have already increased to 50,000 people without power tonight. Orange County is at that 25,000 mark. And then you look at Sumter, Seminole, and Osceola, around 10,000 people in each county without power. And that green, Brevard, was in the turquoise. I said roughly between 1,500 and 3,000 people without power in Brevard County has now jumped to 5,000. The same thing with Flagler. And then you're looking all over and you really see the extent of what's going on. It's going to continue to rise. These numbers will go up as we continue to see Milton cross over. So this is just the beginning of what we're looking at in terms of power outages. When we zoom out and look at the entire state, we're now up to 2.4 million people. Okay, that was just a number that was changed 30 to 45 minutes ago. Okay, so we're looking at this jumping by 300,000 in that time frame, and those numbers will continue to really rise. All the numbers in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina are still dealing with power outages due to Helene. So, I mean, when you look at this colorful setup, it's really not that good. It's going to take some time, especially, I do believe, for areas like in Polk County, where we saw a good bulk of those tornado warnings today. Really, it's going to go through a lot of damage. We're talking about a lot of debris on roadways. We're going to talk a lot of power lines down, in addition to the flooding. So we have all three of those elements really playing a factor in the linemen getting out there to restore power for mass amounts of people. And this number is just beginning. This one will grow. And the same thing goes for the rest of Central Florida. So as we take, I'm going to send this back to Matt and Ginger to bring out some more things happening around Central Florida tonight.
All right. If you add it all up, 300,000 power outages so far, just
so far
in Central Florida. Hey, don't forget, one of the best ways we can know how things are looking at your house is to scan this QR code on your screen. Send us your weather pictures and videos. We want to see how Milton is impacting where you live. I know it's kind of dark now, but maybe in the morning, if you see some damage out there safely, make sending those pictures and videos, make it come from a safe place always, but we would love to share what you're seeing on our newscasts.
You know that
Man, we're seeing that all over the place. But we want to thank one of our viewers in Kissimmee for sending us this Nest Cam footage of what they say starts as a fire in a tree before then causing an explosion and a power outage in that neighborhood right there. Transistors have been blowing up all over the place. Or transformers, I'm sorry. Transistor radios are blowing up all over the place. Watch out.
Oh, and to varies, Joseph sent us this video of the rain and wind in that neighborhood. You can see the trees just blowing around there, sheets of rain pour down onto the streets. And that is the story of tonight, all the water everywhere, and where will it go? All right, once again, here's that QR code on your screen. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins, upload your pictures and videos when it is safe to do so that way as well.
Well, we know a lot of first responders who are staging in Osceola County. That's when the wind starts to die down, they're going to head out and they're going to respond to those calls.
Yeah, Trooper Steve is at that staging area tonight.
Down here at Osceola Heritage Park, where our team has obviously said winds are going to start to pick up, and that's exactly what's happening here. All first responders have been ordered to shelter in place at this point, wherever they're at. Trying to get my bearings here. And there is a huge presence of law enforcement officers and first responders right here at Osceola Heritage Park, where they are basically staging. We're calling this rescue headquarters, because once things clear out, the fire department and the National Guard will be out on the road. Osceola County is currently under a curfew, obviously starting right around 8 p.m. But I tell you, I haven't seen a soul on the road at this point. What we have seen are many transformers blowing along US 192 and then that parallel residential road back there off of Neptune. The sheriff has said if you have to get on the road, it better be for an extreme emergency at this point. The curfew's in place, and if these deputies, these firefighters, even city law enforcement officers are being ordered to shelter in place because of the winds, you shouldn't be anywhere either. Come about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start to see heavier winds here in Osceola County, and we will be sheltering in place right here with those first responders as well. So stick with us, because once this clears out, we're going to be joining them to assess the damage and see what rescues need to be done.
Yeah, and we know that that is a very likely possibility down there in Osceola after this thing blows through. Some of the most stunning video we've seen overnight, and it's getting shared like crazy, like wildfire on social media, is from St. Petersburg, where the winds from Milton have ripped off the roof of Tropicana Field. You can see many of the roof tiles are pulled away, just flapping in the wind there. Tropicana Field, home to baseball's Tampa Bay Rays. Maybe you've seen a game there. But it's also where a lot of linemen, National Guard, first responders were going to be stationed to help with storm recovery. There were beds, cots, and other supplies that had been scattered all over the playing surface. By the way, the stadium was built to withstand winds up to 115 miles an hour. There were no immediate reports of injuries, but clearly the winds there in St. Pete went past 115.
Yeah, that is really just stunning, because that's not a cloth roof that you saw being ripped off either.
That was it shingle or metal? Or
I believe it was metal
something
of some sort.
that's supposed to be solid.
It shouldn't be what it is right now, though. Yeah. All right, we've seen lots of conditions deteriorate, and News 6's Eric Von Enken, he is live in Sarasota, where things appear to have calmed down quite a bit, and I know he's been talking about the water surging 4 blocks from where it started. So, Eric, how's it looking out there right now for you?
You are absolutely right. It is absolutely improving out here. Let me get out of the way. So remember, the water was up this driveway, and if you looked out into the street, I mean, and like I was saying earlier, this street is one of the main roads here into downtown Sarasota, Fruitville Road. You probably pass it on I-75 if you've driven up and down, or up or down the west coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast of Florida, down I-75. And it looked like a river was running down the middle of this road for several blocks from the bayfront past our hotel. This is the end of this big tall building amongst many big tall buildings here in the downtown area. But it came from the bayfront, it went up past our hotel, and it kept, don't know how far yet, because the water has not receded enough to be able to walk out there safely and check around the corner. The middle of the street seems drier, but if you, I mean, you know, you're looking at this right in front of me. Still a good, 6 inches or so out here with a whole lot of junk. So this is I mean, mostly vegetation, right? It looks like a whole lot of palm fronds and leaves. A little bit of debris, but, you know, what we were talking about earlier is the concern of what it's going to look like further out. So, and all over the city, and all up and down the west coast of Florida here, and potentially whatever the storm surge is, if we get any on our coast, on the east coast of Florida, what is going to be in that. But the difference here is, remember what the big concern was, Governor, that there is so much debris, so much junk from inside so many houses floating somewhere, certainly floating around the barrier island on the pitch, or about a mile away from where I'm standing. And who knows where else? Where is that stuff being washed? Because it was, we showed you, just piled up on front lawns, pile after pile after pile after pile. That stuff probably floats. Certainly the furniture. You know, we saw how many dining room, we saw how many cabinets were thrown out, kitchen cabinets and bathroom vanities. A lot of that stuff made of wood. So, you know, you can bet that's floating. And all the other little things that, you know, I mean, what do we see? Lampshades and lamps and recliners. Some tossed around. And then the construction debris that was thrown out. So where? I can't tell you. You know, somewhere out in the area around the barrier island, likely. It could be floating in Sarasota Bay. This came up from the bay, and like I said, we're 4 blocks in from where the mainland here in downtown Sarasota stops. So the water washed it and then up the bay and then front. And like I said, where we are here is about 4 blocks from the bayfront. Jeff, you were pointing to something? Say again? Oh, Jeff said get out of the way. So, yeah, what we are seeing now is an improving situation where the water here, the storm surge, is going down. It seems like absolutely, Ginger and Matt, the worst is over here for the west coast of Florida, but what we don't know is how bad is it? What kind of condition has this hurricane left this Gulf Coast of Florida in? And from what we're seeing, there's a lot of water, and it seems to have gone just about everywhere. They predicted high storm surge. We did not get anything like 15 feet of storm surge here, but what happened out on the barrier island, you know, we just don't know yet.
All right, Eric Von Anken with a very honest Jeff Seegers. As always, we appreciate you, your cell signal. Hanging on by a thread, but thank you very much, my friend. I'm glad things are getting better, but I personally hate to see Sarasota look like that. It is one of the prettiest places our state has to offer.
It is beautiful. Daylight will reveal what it really looks like tomorrow. News 6's Troy Campbell joins us now live. He's in Orange County. Troy, you still outside our news studios?
I am. I forgot to take a walk around your vehicle to make sure it was okay, because you said you weren't sure what the weather was like out here. I will say the weather has actually improved slightly than it's been the last hour. I would probably actually say about 20 minutes ago, we had some of the strongest wind, and when we stepped inside, we could just hear the wind billowing past. And then the rain is continuing to pour down. The rain here in Orange County has been pretty steady all evening. And then again, we're talking about this wind, and actually there's the water right here. This is a parking lot. And then, just in case it's not clear, just because of the depth of the water now here, and then there is a part of a palm tree that did fly off. The wind here, the city of Orlando did post another update that their emergency crews cannot respond, because right now they're at over 40 miles an hour for wind, and that's their threshold. So that is an update from the city of Orlando. But again, I will say that the wind has improved slightly here. When it comes to electricity, that's not working out so well for people when it comes to this wind, because now we're at about 40,000 people in Orange County. We watch these skies light up blue, sparks flying, looking like lightning in the distance. We've seen a lot of power outages, alarms going off. There's a warehouse over there that's just had its lights, security lights flashing. And then again, the strong wind here, it reminded me of why MCO did need to close and the airport did need to close, because here in Orlando, it's kind of reminding me back to Irma, just with some heavy, strong winds coming through, mixed with the rains. And Orange County also had that tornado warning earlier on. And at that time, and I had said it before, is that there was a lot of people out on the roadway, a lot of vehicles. Thankfully, we haven't seen any vehicles. We only saw one fire truck, so thankfully we're not having to see them respond to many emergencies. I've been on social media looking around to see for damage, but what we're really seeing is people are asking, a lot of apartment complexes are saying, hey, do you know if this and this apartment complex is prone to flooding? Maybe they weren't thinking about it until they are starting to get nervous when they're looking outside. I did speak to Commissioner Uribe with Orange County this week, and she said something that people don't think about when it comes to flooding at their apartments is where they park their vehicle. She said 2 years ago with Ian, we had a lot of people lose their vehicle in the parking lots of these apartment complexes, because a lot of times that's more underlying and they don't necessarily have renter's insurance for their car. So that's definitely important. 200,000, that is the number of sandbags Orange County says that they gave out to people leading up to this to try to prevent any flooding. And again, if you just take a look right here, this is just was a clean parking lot, and it is just scattered here with debris because of the wind. But I will say it does appear the conditions here in Orange County are slightly improving. Live in Orange County, Troy Campbell, back to you.
And that is fantastic news. Now, Troy, go walk around our cars and see if it's okay.
No, please. I don't want to know.
Thanks,
if
Troy.
you see anything, don't tell me until the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get you some video in from the Gulf Coast showing the moments after Hurricane Milton made landfall. Look at this. You can see here wind whipping. I think this is St. Pete, whipping through those trees there, shaking them. Street lights were hanging on by a thread. Even a crane rocking in the winds, which from reports I've seen, there was a crane that collapsed because the winds came in so hard on top of, not on top, everybody was okay. So it was that as well. There's that crane right there. I think that thing ended up coming over.
Again.
I did, yes.
And as he was mentioning, just a couple of hours later, it appears that a crane or another.
Oh, I did. I have been jumping the gun. You're right.
In St. Pete has fallen, blocking the road there. And there's debris from the collapsed crane. It's scattered all across the flooded road there. We're also told the crane fell onto a building, but the amount of damage, it's hard to assess at this hour because it is dark. They don't even know how much damage that thing caused. But this is why they tell you not to be out on the roads again, because if that crane had fallen on people, we're doing a different story tonight. We're talking about something else.
It would be a tragedy as well. And we were talking about the trop, the roof of that. We were curious as to what that thing was made of.
We knew it was metal, but the frame is metal, but it's not cloth. It's covered by cloth, and there's some sort of some polymer that you can't pronounce that is, it's lighter than glass that's under there, but it was not just a cloth cover over that thing.
Yeah,
so it took something to destroy it.
Supposed to withstand winds, but only up to 115.
Yeah.
Let's get you over to our chief meteorologist, Candace Campos, still in at 1:33 in the morning, guiding us through this storm. I know the time's flying by, right?
Yeah, this is the time I normally would be waking up. No, at the end of the day, here's some of the latest stats officially on the landfall. In case you missed it, 8:30 this evening as a Category 3 hurricane. Hurricane Milton made landfall in Siesta Key, that's Sarasota County. The pressure was at 954, and the winds officially at 120 miles per hour. It has since weakened though, now talking about Category 3 strength. Now that main center now starting to push into areas of Osceola County, although right now the winds aren't too bad actually in and around that main center. Where we are starting to see the wind gusts actually exceed that is in areas of Claremont and Leesburg. Please ignore the villages. That seems to be my issue so far this evening or this morning, however you want to dice it. But right now, Daytona Beach, where Molly Reed is currently stationed in and around in Volusia County, we officially have hurricane force wind gusts upwards. The moment we get over 74, that is officially hurricane force winds. So just kind of the way the dynamics are working right now, we have that upper level trough that we were talking about is what actually is picking up Milton and bringing it through Central Florida. That's actually squeezing some of that pressure gradient in some of our zones here, which is why Sanford right now we're clocking winds of 66 miles per hour, wind gusts, I should say. Cocoa Beach at 67. Areas in Ocala right now picking up wind gusts of 63. Now, mind you, the main core here, it's not like a center eye wall anymore, okay? This is kind of broadening out. We're kind of losing a lot of the rain in and around that center at this point in time. So just checking on Eric Sandoval. He is there in Osceola County. He's saying right now it's just sprinkling. Conditions are actually calming down. And that certainly makes sense as this center is really starting to kind of widen out. So that wind field is starting to kind of push out more of the wind gusts even further outward rather than staying this real tight kind of center like it was during obviously landfall with Eric Von Aken. We bounced him from the two different Erics. That's not confusing. Latest update, though, we are looking at several flash flood warnings. This is the next concern, along with the possible damaging wind gusts. We have our reporters all over the place, and you can see a lot of them are kind of getting pushed around in a lot of those wind gusts. But on top of that, you start adding a lot of weight to a lot of these trees and a lot of these surfaces with all this rainfall, already very saturated grounds. Certainly there will be a concern for that. All right, so let's take you kind of around town, see how much rain we're talking about. So far, we've been racking up upwards of about half of a foot of rain already, about 6 to 8 inches of rain falling in some of these areas. And the main bullseye that we are currently tracking is just here, kind of in that zone of New Smyrna Beach down through Oak Hill. These bright reds here, that is indicating some torrential downpours. These are extremely high rainfall rates. And as you notice, they're really not moving much. They're kind of starting to train over each other. And that stretches all the way into the Seminole County area, Longwood, Altamont Springs. You can see if we zoom in real close, that is that one aerial flash flood warning that is in effect for the Little Wekiva River. This will expire at 6 a.m. We're expecting it to possibly crest well before that. Areas into northern Lake County, areas of Bay Ridge, Dublin, Zellwood, we're looking at that big kind of surge of moisture starting to kind of wrap around a little bit as well. Through Umatilla, it is just, at the end of the day, it's an absolute mess out there. We are dealing with the sideways rain. We're dealing with those extremely gusty winds that extend for miles outside of that overall center. With that potential of those really strong wind gusts. So again, those flash flood warnings, they're not that there will be a potential for flash flood. The warning is that there's already so much rain that has already fallen that the potential for that flooding is already there or has already been reported. Now, the good news is embedded with all of this, what you don't see is any lightning. If we start seeing lightning, that would be a big time problem like we dealt with much earlier this afternoon where we had 23 plus. Like Ginger said, I don't know if that was the final tally, but more than a dozen, let's say that, more than a dozen, 2 dozen, I should say, tornado warnings in areas of Brevard County. We had a big swath with a confirmed tornado in Osceola County as well. Unfortunately, the Cocoa Beach tornado warned area that meteorologist Jonathan Kegas and I were watching, unfortunately verified as James Sparvero showing us some of that damage in and around that area. So the latest stats on Hurricane Milton, the next track will be at 5 a.m. But at this point in time, we know where it's going. I mean, there's no real big question mark. The wobbles and things like that at this point in time really don't mean much, as at the end of the day, the center is really starting to expand. It's getting eroded, a lot of that moisture on the southern end, which is why parts of Osceola County and Brevard are relatively dry at this hour, while others just to the north are getting sucked with rain. Right now, winds of 90 miles per hour. It is now starting to raise towards the east-northeast at about 16 miles per hour. But again, on top of what has already fallen, we're clocking another 4 to possibly 5 inches of rainfall on top of what already has fallen. So again, these models are starting to kind of trying to play catch up with already the rain that has fallen. So we're going to continue to kind of re-rack now that it is midnight. Some of our models are kind of going, what day is it? So we're going to have to continue to kind of organize some of these as we head into the early morning hours of Thursday. That is what day it is, 1:38 on this Thursday morning. Now we're going to toss it over to meteorologist Samira Kukina. She is watching all those power outages. That is also a real big concern, because the big question is, if we have so many power outages across a big portion of Florida, how long is it going to take to get them back on? That's the next big question.
Be one of those situations where we see extended power outages for many people, even here across Central Florida, where we're getting a lot of the damage right now. So earlier at 1:19, I said there were 2.4 million people in the state of Florida without power. That has since updated to 2.6 million. So we're already seeing those numbers increase substantially. And as we look a little bit closer here to home, still right around 50,000 in Marion, Volusia, and Lake County. Again, these numbers are in thousands, but Polk County still sitting at 100,000. But I do believe that number is going to continue to rise. Had quite a bit of damage there earlier, and they also had 9 tornado warnings issued over a period of about 2 hours and 20 minutes. That was from about 1:19 to 3:30 or 3:20 in the afternoon. So that's what we're looking at. Orange County right now, 25,000 people without power. But again, Milton is continuing that pathway, and it's still right around the Polk County, getting closer to Osceola County area. And we're seeing that wind field, again, expansive. So with the hurricane force winds still, relatively close to an eye that's just kind of ragged at this point, or getting somewhat, it's not as defined as it once was, just because it's working its way over land. So we're going to continue to see it kind of get a little bit bigger and bigger. But when we look at all of the power outages, it's pretty apparent that we've had some very strong wind gusts tonight, up in the 70-mile-per-hour range across many areas, including Volusia, Marion, and even Lake County. So when we look at Brevard County, still sitting at about 5,000 people without power at this hour. Osceola, Sumter counties with 10,000. Putnam and Flagler County also with about 5,000 people without power tonight in each county. So these numbers, again, are going to continue to rise. That pathway is going to basically put Milton into the Atlantic right around daybreak or so, and then beyond that it'll move offshore. So when we look at the timing for those strongest winds, you'll notice that we're coming up on that 2 o'clock hour, and this is where we're at. So we had that pinpointed down from about 1 to 2 o'clock, where we saw the strongest wind gusts through Polk County as well as our western counties, and now we're shifting to more of kind of right directly down the center of the state. So when we look at it, Orlando, surrounding cities going down into Kissimmee, Point Siena, all of Osceola County down to Yeehaw Junction, and then all of this is going to continue to spread to the east, incorporating Titusville, Rockledge, Palm Bay, almost all of Brevard County. Anywhere between that 75 to 100 mile per hour mark. So we could see a few numbers like what we did kind of in the Polk County area exceed 100 miles per hour. I do believe most of this here is going to stay between 75 and about 90 miles per hour at this point. Looking to the north in this orange color, this one is about 55 to 75 miles per hour. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw wind gusts exceeding that 75 mile per hour mark. We already have in Daytona Beach at about 78 miles per hour. So as we head into the morning and this moves offshore, all that wind is going to be wrapping back around. And I do believe we could see some really strong wind gusts along our coastal zones in Flagler and Volusia counties. So again, all the way from about now, coming up on 2 o'clock to the east through 6 o'clock in the morning is what we're looking at in terms of the strongest wind gust potential. Now, we were talking about just a few things about Milton so far. So on Monday, and that's when we saw it really blow up, right? We saw that category 1, category 2, 3, 4, 5, all within a day. And when we look at the central pressure, Milton came in at 897 at its lowest pressure. That is the 5th in ranking, okay, for the lowest pressure. It actually beat Allen, which was 898 in 1980. That was Hurricane Allen. That was over South Texas. So the 5th strongest storm by pressure. The lowest was Wilma, which you just saw in 2005. It was also the 3rd fastest storm to rapidly intensify, only beat out by Wilma in 2005, as well as Felix in 2007. So when we saw that explosive energy from that storm that happened in a day, just know that it was the third fastest to happen in the Atlantic Basin. Also, the eye size of Milton on Monday was actually right just under 2.5 miles. That was the smallest point before it went through that eye wall replacement. The smallest one on record is from Wilma in 2005 at 2.3 miles, so it got very close. So this is the second smallest eye on record that we've seen in these in the Atlantic Basin. So I do believe with all of these things being said, even though it weakened, we've seen the damage. We're going to continue to see these numbers in power outages rise, and of course, once we get through it, we're going to start assessing all of the damages, Matt and Ginger, and that's going to be something that I do believe is going to be just extremely high in terms of how much damage is going to be in Central Florida, especially with the amount of people that we have now compared to 2004 when we saw, you know, Charlie. Francis, and Ivan and Jean, right? So when you put it into perspective like that, when you have increasing population, the way that Central Florida has exploded, a lot of first-timers that haven't experienced hurricanes, but then add to that the cost damage and all of the properties that are brand new that have been recently built, all of those things, I think we're going to see these numbers are going to be absolutely just mind-blowing.
Yeah, they're going to be high and heartbreaking. And,
absolutely.
You know, we don't call it boomtown for nothing. Samara, thank you.
Yeah, many billions of dollars down the drain with this thing.
That's the part that's going to be hard to swallow.
This is true. All right, let's get you to Kissimmee now, which is a spot we've been really trying to pay close attention to because it seemed to have a target on its back for a few hours now. Eric Sandoval is live for us in Kissimmee, tracking those conditions. Eric, how's it looking?
Well, it's looking decent right now, I guess is the best word. You know, Candace and I have been texting each other. She's been really concerned also about what it's looking like here, and she just texted me about 15 minutes ago saying, how's it looking? And it was at that moment I realized, at that moment, it wasn't raining. There was no wind. It was actually really nice. Of course, now it started sprinkling, but the wind is actually died down a little bit. So much so that photojournalist Homer Salcedo has been able to come out of his little protective area and walk with me. These trees last time were leaning to the right because the wind was coming out of the east. Now they're just, you know, blowing in the wind like a normal day. We have been watching this Disney gift sign all evening and into the early morning hours. Part of it actually broke off and went projectile for a while, went all the way down the parking lot on the other side of the building there. And Homer and I were both hearing this rumbling, and we kept wondering, what is that noise? What is that noise? Well, it turns out it was the sign to the hotel that we're actually staying at. The wind was blowing so hard at one point that the plastic of the Clarion Inns and Suites sign was shaking and rumbling in the wind. So it just took a while to figure out, oh my gosh, that's what it is. It's shaking, and we were actually watching it to see if it was going to break off and fly down the street. Fortunately, it didn't. You know, one thing I wanted to talk about last hour, and I'll get to it right now, the big concern for Osceola County emergency management officials, of course, here was the flash flooding. Of course, we're still under a flash flood warning. Early yesterday morning now, this is Thursday, right? So early yesterday morning, I was really trying to drive home the point that people living in low-lying areas, RVs, mobile homes, really needed to take these evacuation suggestions seriously. Emergency management was saying, you know, we have shelters open, come to the shelters, spend a few days, bring your stuff. I checked with Osceola County Emergency Management. Every single shelter, except for one, is at capacity. They're full up. So it really makes me feel good that people were heeding our warnings, going to the shelter, and being safe instead of riding out this storm and definitely risking their lives, because we have seen some really wicked gusts here. I think Samara and Candace were saying 65 miles an hour here in the Kissimmee area at one point. I think as the storm moves out of Polk County and comes over here to Osceola County, we're going to eventually see those winds pick up, and of course we're going to be here to show it all to you. Guys, back to you.
Eric Sandoval in a relatively placid Kissimmee at 1:48
Like to see it,
a.m.
yeah.
That's what we like to see. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Eric.
Now up north of this storm is where we're seeing plenty of rain. I just got,
And
my watch
wind.
was just telling me another flash flood advisory. I know they've been in Polk and Orange and Seminole, a lot of places dealing with flooding. Hard to tell because it's so dark right now, but I think when we wake up and when this storm passes through, we're going to see plenty of that flooding.
Yeah, and you're talking about rain coming down. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest, he is live in the Villages with more on that part of the story. And every time we've checked in with him, there's not been a time where it has not been raining. Mike.
It has been nonstop throughout the evening with gusts of wind, heavy rain. But I do want to put this in perspective. We are not anywhere near the eye of the storm, so we don't expect to see the kind of damage. Now, by daylight tomorrow, there may be some big trees down around here. We don't know. I just took a little stroll through this part of the Villages here, and as we were expecting, based on the amount of wind and rain we've had, I haven't seen any significant damage. Some tree limbs down. I was just noticing over here, it looks like somebody's grill cover has blown off. I would take it back, but I don't know where it belongs. Obviously, we're not going to see widespread damage here up in the Villages, but it's nonetheless, people have had concerns as we've been going into this storm over the past few days. Particularly a lot of folks who live here in the Villages, this is their first major storm and didn't know what to expect. And I don't think any of us knew what to expect until the path of the hurricane actually showed itself. And fortunately for the people here, was quite a ways south of here. Nonetheless, we've been getting these heavy winds and rains, and it's just become a tradition when I've covered these hurricanes. I always bring multiple jackets. I've already burned through one of them on my second jacket now. No offense to the fine folks at Channel 6 who provide us those jackets. They don't last real long. This one is my better one, so we'll see if it holds up in the rain. But I'm bringing that up not to make light of this, but just to show that we have been getting significant rain here, and it has just been relentless. Again, walking through this portion of the Villages where we're at, I have not seen significant flooding. There's some puddles in the road here. And that, again, was not expected the way this community was developed. It was developed to try to alleviate flooding in the first place. The homes are all relatively new, at least when it comes to Florida building codes. So, again, the county officials were urging people to just shelter in place here because they did not expect, even if the storm had been more significant, that we were going to see much concern up here. Of course, the way the storm shook out and ended up passing quite a ways from here, we're not seeing major damage, but nonetheless, it is still getting hammered hour after hour here. And I think it's been a little bit of a relief to the people living here. Hopefully a relief to those who may be snowbirds who have homes here and are now out of state, looking forward to coming down here when the weather cools off and not knowing exactly how their house is surviving this storm. Again, I can't speak for the entire Villages because we're just in this one part here, but it has been relatively mild, and we always like to report the good news when it comes to these storms. We're seeing a lot of terrible, terrible images out there tonight. We also want to show the good images, and at least right here, it's been fairly good. Still a mess, but at least we're holding on here. Back to you guys.
Sometimes we don't see enough of that
That's
good
right.
stuff coming out of
Got to
there.
call balls and strikes.
Yeah.
Mike DeForest.
Slow your roll on your rain jackets, though. You're out there for
Yeah,
a
you're going to
little
run
bit.
out if you keep it up, man. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Oh, he got him right off. Sorry. All right, News 6's Molly Reed is in Volusia County now. And Molly, you're seeing some strong winds out there, and you're also waiting for that high tide as well.
Yeah, definitely, Ginger. Within the last hour, it has definitely deteriorated out here even more with those winds just flying seemingly in every direction right now. I mean, you can just see behind us how this place hasn't lost power over here. I know we're on the generator at our hotel, but how they haven't lost power at this place behind me is just beyond me with these winds going. And again, we've been waiting for that 1 a.m. High tide to mix kind of with the storm surge that's already kind of coming over here. And unfortunately, because of how these winds are going, I haven't been able to get over onto the beach because that'd be a little dangerous. But what I can tell you, just looking out the window, is the water has started hitting the doors here at the hotel. And we've seen some sea foam kind of flying around. It kind of tells me that, you know, the water is now getting carried out over here. So here on A1A, there isn't too much in the water-wise in the road right now. So I am a little curious, though, what it looks like more along the road over there on the other side of the Barrier Island, which is Peninsula and Halifax, that are going along the river where all of this water is flowing over onto the Beach Street downtown area in Daytona Beach. I'd be very curious to see what the water's looking like over there, since that's where it's all kind of flying. But yeah, as you can see, I mean, it is just picking up over here. Very crazy. We're hearing a lot of other reports down in the New Smyrna Beach area, big winds, things like that. We haven't seen, oh, there goes the power, like I've been waiting for. I don't know if it'll come back on, but we haven't seen too much damage just yet. I do have a street sign street light flying around me. We have seen some signs from the hotel flying off here. Some other areas, street signs are starting to fly off, street lights, things like that. So I think the damage is starting to pick up maybe a little bit over here. It's just a little hard to tell since it's dark out. And again, as we've been saying, I think a lot of the other reporters have been saying in their areas too, it's just going to be one of those storms where we wake up and we got to see what exactly happened, because again, as the power starts flickering on and off, everyone's kind of left in the dark right now trying to figure out what's flying around, and you don't know, which is another reason why it's so dangerous to be out here driving around and stuff, because you don't know what's flying around out here. So yeah, I mean, winds are definitely picking up, and we'll just see kind of what happens, I guess, in the morning when the sun comes up.
Yeah, Molly, just FYI, Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos says that in your area there was a hurricane-force gust of 75 miles per hour.
That makes sense. I think I would have blown away if I was standing any further out there. So that definitely makes sense. I believe Candace full-heartedly on that one.
All right.
Thank you,
Glad we could
Molly.
fact check her live on the news. Thank you very much, Molly.
All right.
Let's get you out to News 6's James Sparvero. He is live in Cape Canaveral. He's been up and down the coast out there in Brevard County today. How are the conditions right now, James?
Hey, Matt and Ginger. So we're still doing okay for right now. I haven't had to put the rain jacket on for a few hours now. Really not since 5 or 6 this afternoon when the tornado warning came about. And unfortunately, we did have some significant damage to report to you. Earlier tonight on News 6, we showed you in Cocoa Beach at the Publix Plaza that's south of the 520, a Supercuts and a Florida eyewear store significantly damaged, very severe, perhaps totally destroyed. We'll see how they choose to rebuild. But we were able to take our cameras right up to the windows that were just blown out, the businesses torn apart inside. Hard to look at, very jarring, the images that we were able to capture tonight. The building itself was okay, but the building was designed to have glass all around it. So that was really what led to its downfall. In this case, when the tornado touched down, what we expect to be a confirmed touchdown. Now, Brevard County Fire Rescue told us that there were about 8 properties that were damaged, including some homes. Now, one of those other properties was just across the street there at A1A and Banana River. That was the Wells Fargo Bank. Badly damaged as well. The roof collapsed. And one of the homes that was damaged, Mayor Keith Capizzi of Cocoa Beach says that included his. So very serious the storm's been in Brevard County so far, and unexpected. The county mostly had talked about the wind totals that would be expected, the wind speeds that would be expected once the storm had got here as an expected Category 1. And then suddenly today, tornado warnings were just breaking out everywhere in Florida. And suddenly, we had that damage that we reported. But it has been a few hours now, and I'm back in my neighborhood in Cape Canaveral. This is around the Harbor Heights area. This is close to Port Canaveral, and we've been doing okay. Now, some of my neighbors, they live in mobile homes, and the mobile homes were really the reason why Brevard County opened some shelters. They were worried for people who live in mobile homes or if their neighborhoods flood. So they opened 3, and then earlier today they decided to open a 4th one. And it was a little more north. It was in Port St. John. The one closest to the northern end of the county at that point was in North Cocoa at the Walter Butler Community Center. And I did have somebody reach out to me in Titusville, worried about that. They were worried that there wasn't a shelter that was going to be opening a little bit closer to them. But in Cape Canaveral, other people have told me that they've actually lost their power. I haven't lost my power yet, Matt and Ginger, and in 2022, I did not lose power either in Ian or Nicole as some of my neighbors did. I mean, we talk every storm how we know since the 2004 hurricanes that Florida Power and Light has spent billions of dollars on what they call hardening the line, upgrading the power lines across the state so not to be in that situation. Now back to the damage I saw earlier. Our Candace Campos and Jonathan Kegas were really tracking those storms. And Candace, you actually found out that the storm, the tornado we believe touched down, it was right there. I think you guys refer to it as a supercell. I mean, you really had detail of what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, James, at the end of the day, that was about, what was it, 4:45, 5 o'clock or so, that we saw that that supercell kind of move into areas of Brevard County, James, and we did actually get the debris signature on there. We thought it could be mix of ocean water because it started out over the open waters. It wasn't a water spout that eventually turned into a tornado, but Jonathan Kegas went so down into the kind of the street level there, and that was right around the Wells Fargo, the eyeglass store, things like that that you've been showing us all evening and now morning long. So that unfortunately has certainly verified. The National Weather Service, obviously they're a little busy this evening, but they will be out there and of course investigating some of those reports. Right now, where James is at, we are clocking a wind of 49 miles per hour. A little earlier before that, Molly Reed is up there in Daytona Beach with 63 miles per hour. Leesburg at this point in time, oh, look, the Villages just clocked a 72 mile per hour wind gust. That's where Mike DeForest is. Throughout Leesburg, also at 73, so that's getting close to hurricane force wind gusts. If we get over that set, we get 74 or higher. That will be officially hurricane force winds extending several miles out of where that center is. But it's an interesting phenomenon right now that is going on, that right across the center of where Milton currently sits is Eric Sandoval, and he is really not seeing as bad of weather as Molly or Mike, and that's really going to continue to kind of, that's the reason for it, is that wind field that continues to kind of expand, really encompassing a big portion of Central Florida. So all the energy back in the beginning when it made landfall was real tight and concise as a Category 3 storm, but it has since weakened considerably. So that has basically widened out that wind field and has pushed a lot of that energy outward, which is why we were concerned that many of us here in Central Florida were going to be picking up those wind gusts in excess of tropical storm force, even teetering on that hurricane force wind gust. So a lot of these forecasts, unfortunately, verifying. Right now, we're clocking winds of 63 all the way from Mitco through Melbourne, Cocoa Beach as well, 59 mile per hour wind gusts right now in Titusville. So the wind is certainly howling at this point in time. I do want to turn your attention now to, besides the wind, we're also dealing with the rain. The biggest rain concern right now is in and around kind of this zone. It's so hard to right now see some of these polygons here. But this zone here that includes parts of Orange County, Seminole County, parts of Brevard and Volusia. This zone here is under a flash flood warning. The National Weather Service coming out with some description of it, talking about considerable flash flooding damage can be expected. So far, we've racked up 5 to 9 inches of rainfall kind of in this zone already, and it looks like we could tack on another 3 to 6 inches before this is all said and done. So if you live in and around Orange County, Seminole, parts of northern Brevard County, Volusia County, that I-4 corridor, that same area where we were really zoned in on seeing that big swath of potentially real flood, a higher excessive rainfall threat, it looks like that is also unfortunately verifying. So let's take you a little radar tour of what's going on. Where is the rain actually falling the hardest? Right now, it's within that zone, the same zone that has seen the highest amount of rainfall. Right now, areas into Seminole Springs, you can see down through Bay Ridge, Zellwood there in Lake County, and then starting to push into Orange County, the Apopka area, down into Ocoee. Other than that, areas in and around Altamont Springs are starting to kind of move some of that rain out, which is certainly some good news. Areas into Maytown, areas throughout Oak Hill, also seeing a big bulk of some of that rain. There is still this blinking zone here in areas of Polk County. That is because we are looking at an emergency flash flood warning that is in effect until 4. The good news is the majority of this rain has now pushed out of that area. But again, we are going to continue to see those scattered showers, moderate rain. No lightning, thankfully, is expected embedded with any of these. But this is the one zone we are also closely monitoring, still seeing the rain, just not as heavy as we're seeing kind of some of that rainfall rate kind of backing off a little bit. But this is right where we were talking about the Little Archiva River and that concern of it going from no flood stage to major flood stage within the last couple of hours. That is something we're, of course, going to continue to watch and monitor. So we got the rain, we've got the wind. Thankfully, we're done with the tornado threat. That packed quite a punch earlier this afternoon. But now the next concern, as Milton continues to push out into the open waters, is going to be the storm surge. Let me show you the latest track as of the 2 a.m. intermediate advisory. Right now you can see sustained winds of 90 miles per hour. That means we still have a Category 1 hurricane overhead. But like I said, this is not going to be a real tight center of circulation. A lot of that energy has been pulsated out of the storm. So even though technically this is the center, no matter if you're several miles away from the center, you are still dealing with some pretty impressive wind markers so far. Looking like it could maintain Category 1 strength as it pushes out to sea, but then that wraparound moisture is going to start feeding a whole lot of water back on shore. Molly has been really talking a lot about that being the big concern, especially as we start getting very close to high tide, which should be about this time. But talking more about that storm surge, that's kind of the next threat that we're going to have to wait and see is with meteorologist America Keenis.
That's right, Candace. We're actually in that high tide frame right now along the coastline, so definitely going to see those conditions really get worse as Milton makes its way offshore just after daybreak. So when we look at the storm surge potential, I'm going to show you what we're talking about. Candace just mentioned that the winds, once it's offshore, or when it begins to move offshore and then progress out to sea, you're going to notice that the wind's wrapping back around, and that's where it's going to push all of that water back on shore. So we're looking at anywhere between 3 to 6 feet, all from storm surge, all the way from Flagler going into Volusia and even into Brevard County. Now the wind, as it moves offshore for our areas to the south, talking about Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce, Jupiter, the wind going outward is actually going to give them a negative surge. So really waiting to see exactly how much storm surge, but again, anywhere between 3 to 6 feet along our coast. And when we look at the high tide schedule for today, we're already in high tide right now. And then as we go into low tide at around 7:20, between 6:45 and 7:21 tomorrow, or this morning rather. Basically, what you would think it would help a little bit, and it may. I don't think it's going to make a big of a dent as you think, because we're following that with high tide between 1 and 150 along our coast. That is going to kind of keep conditions elevated, and then I think as we get closer to the evening times for low tide between 7:19 and 8:33, that's where we could see a little bit of improvement. But again, this system will be moving offshore. It depends on exactly how quickly it moves offshore, and also how long we see those swells are really generating rough conditions on top of that storm surge. It could take a little bit of time before it clears. Looking at the numbers here in power outages across the state, we have 2.6 million people without power in the entire state of Florida. Notice as we look at Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, those are still from Helene right now. So as we zoom in a little bit tighter here into our viewing area, you'll notice that we have 100,000 people in Polk County without power tonight. And then we look at Marion, Lake, and Volusia County at 50,000 per county without power. Orange County is next at about 25,000, and then you'll notice 10,000 for Osceola, Seminole, and Sumter counties, 5,000 per county in Putnam, Flagler, as well as Brevard. Now keep in mind, in Polk County, that 100,000, but they had a lot of crazy wind out there. They had 9 tornado warnings in a matter of 2 hours and 20 minutes this afternoon. That was from 1:19 to 3:20 or so, where we saw 9 warnings pop. And then as we started to see Milton make its way onshore just after 8:30, really strong wind gusts in excess of 100 miles per hour were potentially moving through that area. So we're talking about a lot of trees down. We're talking about a lot of power lines down, obviously by that number reflecting it. And then when you talk about the debris of the trees, I mean, we're talking trees can be uprooted. We'll see limbs all over the place, a lot of canopy damage, blocking all the roadways in addition to flooding. And that makes it very difficult for the linemen to get out there and restore that power. So we could be watching this for days or extended periods of time beyond that. Lewis and Bridget.
All right, thank you so much, Samara. And right now, News 6's Eric Von Aken is alive in Sarasota this morning, just a few miles away from where Milton made landfall. And what is it like so far this morning? What's happening now, Eric?
Good morning, Bridget. It's over. You know, as quickly as this came in here and all those live pictures we were bringing you throughout the afternoon and the overnight hours. First, as the storm was blowing in, the eye wall was, 30, 20, 10 miles away from us. Then as it was over us, it was dead calm. We showed you those live pictures down by the bayfront. And then the other side of it brought the storm surge that we were wondering if it would appear, and it in fact did. And now, as you can see, the rain is gone and a little bit windy still, but that's it. And the storm surge has subsided, and this is what it has left. So here in downtown Sarasota, again, we're 4 blocks in from the bayfront, the edge of the bay. Down that way, this is Fruitville Road behind me, one of the main roads that runs through Sarasota from the highway down to the bayfront. Lights are out. There is one traffic signal down the road there that is blinking, but the power is off to most of this downtown area, except for the generators that are powering, hotels like ours here. Only the lights are on. No water, certainly no hot water, and no AC. And one of the reasons for that, especially at our hotel, we just found out, is because of this. So this is, from what I've been told, one of the covers, I guess, to the AC on the roof. The people here at the hotel say that they lost all but one air conditioning units on the top of this hotel. Windows blew out on the 8th floor. Jeff, are you able to spin around so you can see that glass that's in the roadway? So there are sheets of glass from the 8th floor, which is, I think, the restaurant upstairs, that did not hold up. And all of this is supposed to be hurricane glass, but now you can see so much of it is shattered across the street here. This is, I guess, a glass panel, presumably, that fell from the roof or from the 8th floor right around the same place. And there's all kinds of other things here besides the vegetative debris, palm fronds and lots of leaves, things like buckets. There's a pillow over there. That's a newspaper here. So I would imagine that so much of downtown Sarasota, and for that matter, so many of the communities along the Gulf Coast, from here all the way north into Manatee County, where Bradenton is, and St. Petersburg, St. Pete Beach, and Clearwater, look like this tonight. So I don't know how bad the storm surge was that they got. It was surprising to us that as the eye wall passed over, we hadn't gotten any storm surge. I mean, the water level here in the bay didn't change at all. And so that brought up the question, well, how much of this predicted 15 feet are we going to get? We did not get 15 feet here. That's not to say that they didn't get a bunch out on the barrier island, which is about a mile from where I'm standing. But certainly it brought several feet here, and very likely brought several feet more than that, higher than that, out on the barrier island, up and down the west coast here of Florida. Bridget, back to you.
All right, Eric. And when it comes to, some of the other places that you've been, where you've been so close to where, the eye makes that impact, like you said, this is an interesting case, but no two are alike. I mean, that's what happens every time we cover these storms. It's so hard to anticipate exactly what might happen. We we make our best estimates off of what, the storm chasers and what the people give us from going out into the storms and trying to sense what's happening.
And Eric, you mentioned that those are supposed to be hurricane windows. Have you ever seen that before? Hurricane windows blowing out like that? You've covered a zillion of these storms. So have you ever seen that?
Lewis, you're absolutely correct. I suspect that they're not. So this panel is way too thin to be a hurricane window. I mean, there are windows all up and down this hotel. It's one of the newer hotels. All of these buildings, you saw that flash, looks like another transformer just blew. But all of these buildings have tons of glass. That's another transformer. And we're not seeing any other examples of glass in the street like that. So, I know that there's a pool area around the restaurant, and I'm wondering if they use some, I don't know, a different type or an expendable type of glass. But, Lewis, you nailed it. This is not hurricane glass. It seems, to be fair, that for the most part, these buildings built to these construction standards, these hurricane standards here in Florida after Hurricane Andrew, it seems that most of them have done their job and stayed intact. I mean, this is a perfect example. So this hotel, as you see, this is the area where people pull in. You can drop people off at the front entrance, and it's elevated. That's entirely intentional. This is not an accident, the way that this was built. The lobby is right here on the ground floor. It's still up at least one level, and the rooms are, I want to say, 6 or 7 stories up. So the first 5 or 6 stories here in this hotel are just the parking garage. And so many of these buildings here, like the one across the street here, you see where you can park underneath it on the first floor. That is intentional. Lewis, I think it was you and I who spoke about this 2 days ago when we were looking at the infrastructure and all these new buildings here in downtown Sarasota, and the people who chose to stay in these buildings. The concern was, how high would the storm surge come up? If the power went out, would their elevators be working? And if they needed help, could they get down on their own? And could someone come to help them in the middle of a storm? And usually the answer to that question is no. But the buildings are designed to withstand a Category 5 storm. And from what we can tell, again, at this early assessment here at 2:15 in the morning, with all the lights out, it appears that all of these buildings held up exactly as they're supposed to. Now, what does the barrier island, all of these islands and all these keys look like tonight? I can only imagine it is not good. Based on the storm surge we see here tonight, the storm surge that we drove through to get away from the bayfront. Water was, up to the bottom of our truck when we finally were able to pull out of there and realized it's time to go. I can only imagine how the barrier islands look tomorrow morning. Once the sun comes up, we're going to find out.
Yep, that is normally the case. Eric, thank you so much. We're going to check in with you a little bit later on. If you are just joining us, I'm Lewis Bolden. This is Bridget Ellison. We are relieving Matt and Ginger, and really what we're seeing is what was anticipated. We're seeing a lot of trees down. We're seeing power outages already. We know that thousands of linemen have been standing by, and as soon as it's safe for them to restore that power, they will start to do that. But really with these nighttime and overnight storms, you really have to wait until the sun comes up before you really get a good assessment of the damage.
And we're really not done yet. We know that our East Coast still watching out for that storm surge like Samara just mentioned. And so Eric Sandoval is in Osceola County this morning taking a look at some of the situations going on with the power grid there. And it's been a very active night, Eric.
That's an understatement, Bridget. Yeah, it has been an active night. You guys were talking about the safety aspect. Just within the last 5 or 10 minutes, photojournalist Homer Salcedo and I have noticed that fire trucks, ambulances, and even Osceola County Sheriff's deputies have been back out. Ever since we've started reporting here about 9 o'clock last night, we've been reporting that Osceola County Emergency Management, the Sheriff's Department, police, all first responders had basically hunkered down because the winds were just too dangerous for even them to venture out and even answer calls. So the signs that we're seeing that deputies are actually making their way out and checking out the conditions of the roadways. Over there in the distance, I just saw another deputy turn right into a shopping center. That tells me that they're monitoring and seeing what these enclaves and parking lots look like to make sure that they're safe. At the height of the storm overnight, we were seeing the winds just gust down 192 here. They were rattling the hotel sign over here. The trees over here were bending to the right. Here's another car here that looks like a person, just either a looky-loo or a person leaving work, finally able to leave work for the first time overnight. Another sign that things are returning to normal. You know, in between, let me get on this side, Homer, real quick. In between the storm hitting and things quieting down, we got our first look at what the hotel grounds look like. This is where we're staying, incidentally. It's way down there, Homer. I don't know if we're going to be able to get down there. But I'll tell you what, while we're walking towards some damage, I want to show you some video. When the storm was at its highest, we started seeing transformers blow all over the place. They were lighting up the sky. And even now, about 9,300 customers are without power here in the Kissimmee area. For a while, the self-repair mechanism of some of these transformers were kicking in. So, you know, people would lose power and then it would come right back on. So those were really fluctuating a lot overnight. But right now, 9,300 people without power. Most of them are in the downtown area and just to the south of us. And you know what? When we checked in here to the hotel, the general manager told us, you know, we've never lost power here. Even during, you know, Irma, even during Ian, we never lost power here. And I went, okay, well, here comes Milton. Let's put it to the test. You can see we haven't lost power. So it pays to be on this grid, evidently. Again, we're going to wait till the sun comes up and really get a good look at what Milton may have done here to Osceola County. But, Lewis, something that I wanted to tell you personally. You know, yesterday morning, we were talking about Delwood Park and the residents there who got flooded out when you were reporting on Hurricane Ian. And we were trying to drive home the point that they needed to evacuate and people in low-lying areas needed to evacuate. The good news is every one of the shelters except one in Holopaw is at capacity. They are all full. So it sounds like a lot of the people here in Osceola County took the warning seriously and sought shelter. Back to you.
You know what, Eric, that is so good to hear because we know what happened with Ian and it was a mess. So I'm glad to hear that those shelters are at capacity. I know you've been roaming around a little bit. Have you seen any flooding or have you been locked down for the last couple of hours?
You know, we have been locked down and, you know, the wind was just really howling through here. And there was no way that we were going to get into the live van and, you know, chance it to go look. But now that I'm seeing the fire trucks and now that I'm seeing the ambulances and the deputies, I'm going to get back into our live truck and turn on the scanner and see what kind of activity is going on and see if we can confirm any of the scanner chatter of any damage or any flooding. So I'll get back to you on that, okay?
Okay, Eric, thank you so much. Eric Sandoval reporting that emergency crews are back on the street. So you would stand to think that those linemen are back on the street too, if the conditions are safe, so they can start restoring that power. So that's something, that's good news too.
It is.
News 6's Troy Campbell is live in Orange County. And Troy, we can, I see you've got that fog on your camera. But what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, conditions have massively improved here in Orange County. Probably at 1 a.m., there was a lot of rocking and rolling. If you live in Orange County, you probably heard it outside your window. We definitely saw the trees going, the palm trees going. If you look at the parking lot here, you can see just all the debris right here in the parking lot. we had also seen, when you were just mentioning electricity in Orange County, they have about 34,000 people now without electricity in the city of, or in the county of Orange County. And we had seen tons of transformers just lighting up the sky with sparks earlier. And there's a warehouse over here that has had like their blinking lights going off. There was an alarm that was just going off for a while. Thankfully, we didn't see many people out on the roadway. I did just see the first vehicle, an SUV, driving down. There's another car coming now. So these are now the first two vehicles, I would say, in at least, it sounds crazy to say it, but probably the last hour. So at least that's good. People stayed off the roads. And then if you come over here, we noticed that it looked like the ditch was kind of backing up. And coming up into the parking lot, the water is already coming up. This all just completely, because we had a lot of heavy rain. Up to a foot of rain was expected in Orange County. So that's why about 200,000 sandbags got sent out earlier on Wednesday. Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings, he spoke about the precautions they were taking. I believe we have that. Take a listen.
That there's a strong possibility of localized flooding, flash flood warnings, and even flash flood emergencies are possible beginning tonight. In addition to heavy rain in Orange County, we anticipate sustained tropical storm force winds at 45 to 65 miles per hour overnight, and we will likely see wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour. That means that there's going to be some damage within our community. It means that we're likely going to have some localized flooding again. But we're prepared. We have done a lot of work with our Public Works Department to lower the water bodies throughout the county. We have pre-positioned pumping systems throughout the county to help us should we have additional localized flooding.
And we do remain on a flash flood warning. Also, some people might find in apartment complexes. When I spoke to Commissioner Monica Uribe, she said she was concerned that with people during Ian, what happened is they weren't afraid of living on their second floor apartment unit. What ended up happening was their car in the parking lots flooded out. So as we show you again here, this is a parking lot, the water coming up. So hopefully everyone will be okay, and then everyone assesses the damage. But again, doing that once the sun comes up. Live in Orlando, Troy Campbell, Getting Results, News 6.
Troy, thank you. And we heard the mayor anticipating that localized flooding. You know, during Hurricane Ian, we saw some areas that didn't typically flood in Orange County, particularly in Orlando and the Ivanhoe area. We had a lot of street flooding there, and we know that there are some mobile homes on the east side that are prone to flooding. So again, when the sun comes up and we're able to move around a little bit more, we'll be able to get a better assessment.
And that's the main thing, Lewis, because, you know, we have a long way to go before the sun comes up, and lots of people anxious to kind of see what's going on. We want to check in over here now with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos, and we're not done with this. People need to still sit tight, Candace.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, we're still looking at the overall kind of tight rotation still happening in and around Osceola County, but there is a little bit of an interesting phenomenon going on. So as Milton continues to weaken, a lot of that energy is actually getting pushed out of that center. So it's not that iconic center, real dominant core like it was when it was a Category 3 hurricane, I should say. But right now, because of that, the areas in and around the overall, the center, technically, not the eye, just overall the center core. Right now, we aren't seeing the winds too bad at this point in time, which is where we were talking with Eric Sandoval and there with Troy Campbell. Now, outside of that area, the winds are a completely different story. In and around Brevard County, you can see right now we are dealing with 59-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Cocoa Beach. We're at 63 in Melbourne, same through Mico. Daytona Beach, we've been clocking hurricane force wind gusts already at now 62, so we are dropping those winds just a touch. And then as of right now, Leesburg still holding on to Category 1 hurricane wind gust at this point in time, with overall sustained winds pretty much area-wide in the upper 20s to about 40, or so miles per hour. Looking here at the radar, of course, the wind is certainly a big concern. We've been seeing a lot of debris kind of tossed around. We had Molly Reed, who had a traffic light fall there on the roadways. So we are having some of those those usual kind of debris when we start talking about hurricane conditions. But the big question is what is the overall damage going to look like? Of course, we had the, what was it, more than 2 dozen tornado warnings that happened yesterday afternoon, about 12 hours ago, between about 1 and 4 o'clock. That created a big mess across parts of Brevard County. We had that tornado, or at least what we think is tornado damage there in Cocoa Beach, and of course there in Deer Park and Holopal. Now, at this point in time, although we're not looking at severe tornadic activity, we are looking at the severe threat for flash flooding, and I'll explain why in just a few seconds. Right now, that flash flooding warning does incorporate a big portion of Seminole, Orange, parts of Brevard, and Volusia County until about 4:30 this morning. So far, we've racked up about 5 to 9 inches of rainfall, and it looks like we could receive another 3 to 6 potentially. So as we zoom in here, give you an idea of what's going on. Still the bulk of the rain, still kind of hovering around northern Lake County, northern Seminole County, into Volusia County to land right along the I-4 corridor. And once again, a lot of the models verifying what we were worried about seeing is, of course, a lot of rain falling in areas in and around possibly Edgewater, New Smyrna Beach, up through Daytona Beach. So again, this right now looks to be the worst of the rain. And we have to reiterate, the reds here on the radar are kind of a different category than if you see rain on the radar in the middle of the summer with those sea breeze storms. Tropical rain packs a lot more moisture, packs heavier raindrops, so that can add up rain in a much faster rate than a typical afternoon sea breeze storm. So let's look here at the latest track. As of 2 a.m., we have sustained winds of still Hurricane Milton, by the way, 90 miles per hour. That centers somewhere in that zone just near Kissimmee area, and that's going to continue to exit out over Brevard County as a Category 1 hurricane. And then the concern for storm surge then starts to creep back into the forecast. But when we talk about how much rain is falling, what we've been always saying is that the heaviest of the rain is always going to be on the northern side of Milton, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Very little rain right now in areas of Osceola and Brevard County, but so much rain in a small amount of time is causing some big time concerns, especially when it comes to our river levels. Some areas now are starting to kind of crest at that major flood stage. So more on that and those official rain totals, or at least estimated rain totals so far this morning. I should remember it's morning now, is meteorologist Michelle Morgan. She is in this morning, kind of pinpointing, really focusing on those rain totals.
Yeah, as we take a look at the rainfall totals, and again, this is radar estimated for many areas, especially where that you see that bullseye, and this was in the past 6 hours in the purples, up to 7, even 8 inches. And as Candace just mentioned, many locations picked up a lot of rain in a short period of time, and this is what we were worried about. As we look at parts of Sumter County and Lake County, even Western Orange County, up to 7, even 8 inches for you, and then areas in yellow up to 3, even 4 inches. Nonetheless, it is causing some issues, not only along the roads, along the rivers, and now it becomes a serious situation in a few locations, especially if you live near the river. So again, we are looking at this river here. This is near Altamont Springs, and it's almost, it's at a major flood stage. Again, the record there is a little bit over 31 feet. So we're gonna have to continue to watch this situation, and that is going to, again, extend not only through today, through the rest of the weekend, until the water recedes. As we look at St. John's River at Astor, we are right at major flood stage at the moment, and it is going to also stay pretty high before the water recedes as we go through not only the rest of the week, heading into the weekend. And I really wouldn't be surprised if we break that record right there, 4.71 feet. So it is becoming very dangerous, and the water is going to continue to rise. Even though it'll stop raining as we go through the rest of your Thursday, that water will continue to rise across our rivers here. So as we take a look at this water levels, this is St. John's River near DeLand. We are right now, again, at that minor flood stage. But notice, as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours, heading into the weekend, the water will continue to rise, and then eventually it'll be close to major flood stage, but not necessarily. We're looking at moderate flood stage, but again, it will still cause some issues there. As we take a look at St. Johns River near Sanford, same deal. If you live in this area, the water levels right now, we're right under that minor, but it is going to continue to climb as we go through the rest of the week, heading into the weekend. Back to you.
Michelle, thank you so much. And we are getting some reports of a possible fire in Orlando caused by a down power line, and reports that a firefighter might be injured. We have a crew checking on that, and so as soon as we get an update, we will pass that along. One of the big concerns has been storm surge. And people in parts of Flagler County were told to evacuate ahead of the storm, and the county, just like everywhere else in Central Florida, has been hit hard.
And News 6's Treasure Roberts has the latest on that.
Yeah, the winds here in Flagler County are really getting strong. I mean, take a look at these trees whipping back and forth. I've only seen this wind get stronger over the past hour or so. And take a look right behind me. I heard this crack, and I didn't know what that was, but I'll try to have my photojournalist zoom in over here. It is pretty dark, so it might be hard to see, but I can see that literally a limb from that tree, part of that tree actually just snapped off and fell to the ground. We're starting to see more of the trees or pieces of the trees and plants flying around the parking lot because that's just how strong the wind is. And not too long ago, this light up here went off for at least a good 10 seconds. I would say maybe 5 to 10 seconds. But fortunately, this place has a generator. This is dangerous winds, and I'm just hoping that everybody is off the road. As we can see here, no one else has entered or exited our accommodations, and there is a curfew. It was set on Wednesday at 7 p.m. and it's not supposed to end until Thursday at 7:30 in the morning. And the Flagler County Sheriff's Office says if they do catch you walking or driving out and about, you need to have a legitimate reason, or you have to be on their list of exceptions. So if you have to go to work, then that would be an exception. But if you don't have an exception or a legitimate reason, I should say, then they say you might be arrested. So I would take heed to what they're saying. And you can see this is literally nothing to play with. My photographer and I have really felt this amp up. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. That looks like it was maybe a cigarette tray. Yes, it was a cigarette tray and a trash can. It just rolled down there. You can see right over here, cigarettes are now all over the ground here because I don't even know where it came from. But the wind is really picking up now, and it's really starting to blow things around out here. I do want to talk to you all about Flagler Beach. This wind makes me really, really concerned for them now, because earlier I told you all that they were seeing some flooding. And I can only imagine how that water is being pushed into their roads right now. We did talk to some people who live in that area, and they told me that before the storm came, they were trying to do what they could to make sure it didn't flood their homes because they felt like the city of Flagler Beach was not accommodating them. So take a look at this video.
We've been complaining about this problem for years. Yesterday, we actually had individuals out here trying to bail out the ditch themselves to try to, prevent the water from coming into their houses right here.
And as you can see what they were doing in that video, they were taking water out of that ditch that they dug themselves and putting it in the drain because they were trying to make more room for the water from the storm to go down in there. But I'll tell you, by the time we left there, that ditch was already full. So it seems like the water just had nowhere else to go. We are hoping for the best for those people in that community and all the communities in Flagler County. We're going to continue to monitor this area, which seems to be getting a lot of wind gusts right now, and we'll let you all know if anything else happens. In Flagler County, Treasure Roberts getting results, News 6.
And we saw right there why that ashtray and that trash can.
It's so dangerous, and you just never know where it might end up. They don't even know where that came from, but
Exactly.
hotel there, or maybe the one next to it. You never know.
Yeah, and things become projectiles. That's why it's very important to get everything cleared away before a storm.
And it's still so dark, so you can't even see it coming, which is why you still have to sit tight, stay inside. Don't try to get out and look around. As curious as we all are, and you know, we're tense. We want to see what's going on and where the water is, but it's better to sit tight still.
And we saw that flooding in Volusia County. You know, and sometimes it's not necessarily that the culverts aren't operating correctly, but a lot of water in a short amount of time. Even culverts, storm drains, they just can't handle all that much water.
My heart went out to them just trying to take that water out with a bucket, and it seems like maybe a pump should have been given to sort of help with that, to move the water around. We have an update about that fire we mentioned just a moment ago, Lewis, with the firefighter injured. This was at a house fire in the Janine Court area of Orlando, and crews were able to put the fire out, but we learned that one firefighter was hurt in the process and transported to ORMC. They're in stable condition, no other injuries reported, but 2 pets died in that fire, unfortunately, but that is the latest from the City of Orlando Fire Department. But again, we do have a crew out there getting the latest on that story.
Unfortunate about those pets, but I'm glad the firefighter is in stable condition.
Yeah.
One of the things we've also been concerned about is storm surge. News 6's Molly Reed is in Volusia County, and Molly, you're seeing a lot of wind gusts out there, right?
Yeah, Lewis, over the last hour, I would say it's been like a night and day difference, honestly, out here. We're on A1A in Daytona Beach, and we were talking earlier about the dangers you might run into with all the obstacles flying around. Here we have a nice little street light. It was part of a set of 3 with the red and green somewhere else that have now flown away. Unfortunately, the street light fell down about 2 hours ago on A1A, and the driver who insisted on breaking the curfew, the mandatory evacuation, and everything like that, hit the light and got out of his car, saw there was damage, and then saw us all staring at him, and he got back in his car and started speeding off. But again, that's why they have that mandatory evacuation and everything like in the curfew in place, because as you can see, I mean, this is almost impossible to drive in, as much as even just stand in right now. Like I'm underneath an overhang out over on A1A. It's getting pretty bad. Now, again, we were talking about that storm surge possibility. That's one of the biggest dangers here for beachside Volusia County. With that storm surge mixing with the high tide that was back at 1 a.m., we started seeing the sea foam flying up in the air, meaning that water's making its way right over here. I'm curious how it is looking on the other side of this barrier island, closer to the Peninsula Drive in Halifax. Avenue over there on the other side, closer to the Intercoastal, where all of that water is really blowing right now. I'm hearing there is a little bit of flooding. I did just hear from the Daytona Beach fire chief. He said that they are getting reports already of down power poles, power lines, trees, major obstacles in the roads and in people's yards right now that they are trying to help with as much as they can, but as you can see with these conditions, it's going to be pretty tough until that loosens up. Now, over in some other areas in Volusia County that we've been paying attention to, one, Edgewater, over where they've been getting flooding from just a simple rainstorm like they were kind of talking about up in Flagler with Flagler Beach, kind of the same problem where these drain systems, yeah, they're working, but they are so overwhelmed. And in Edgewater, I know that speaking to the mayor a few times today, that the streets were flooded pretty early this evening, and I just spoke to another resident who is getting water in their house now at this point, that they are now working around the clock with shop vacs, buckets, things like that, trying to get the water out right now. So as you can see, it's getting even worse and worse with these wind gusts out here at this point, and it's getting pretty dark. A lot of these areas are somehow holding on to a little bit of power, but these ones across the street just lost power within the last hour, so it's getting darker here. We don't know what it's going to look like. I heard Eric Sandoval saying that earlier today, or earlier just a few minutes ago, really, that this is going to be, again, one of those storms. We wake up and we don't know what it's going to look like, especially here. Oh, my street light keeps running back into me. Especially on the beach with the erosion, the possibilities of everything like that. it's too dangerous for us to even get out onto the back patio of our hotel. My hat, sorry. Get back onto the back patio out there to see what that is even looking like. But earlier today, even well before there was a high tide, the water was already starting to hit the seawalls, which is obviously a pretty big concern here after those 2022 hurricanes that left the beaches here pretty fragile. But it is really picking up out here now, so I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you guys in there, and I think we're going to go ahead and head inside.
Okay, Molly, we're going to spare you any questions so you can take a break because it is bustling out there.
It is. All right, well, you know, we were expecting impacts of 3 to 6 feet of storm surge, as we saw in some of the weather graphics earlier, so we're still hanging tight to see what will happen there. And we've been showing you wind damage in Fort Pierce all night, and we're seeing the moment that a monster tornado, look at this, ripped across the turnpike in this area. I mean, this just looks horrific, like special effects almost, but this is real. A funnel cloud right there, flipping over cars. And there is confirmed damage to homes. And it seems like this particular storm has been loaded with tornadoes and a lot of them caught on camera.
Yeah, and Candace was explaining to me yesterday that typically you see the tornadoes before the storms. So we'll check back in with them to see if we're out of the woods in terms of the tornadoes. But yeah, that's amazing video.
Yeah. Well, as we've been telling you, it is a serious situation there in Fort Pierce. Multiple people killed after those tornadoes touched down.
And people living there say they had very little warning. Reporter Nikia Carrero from our Miami sister station is there with an update.
That's right, guys. Give me a second. We had a wind gust coming through. As you see, it pushed me back a little bit, but I just want to show you some of the damage we're seeing out here in Fort Pierce in this gated community. A palm tree is laying in the middle of the road, and this is just one example of the extent of the damage caused by tornadoes that came through this place. We actually have a house here that has a dumpster that they said came from the country club in this community that scraped these cars, landed on top of the car, and it's unbelievable the sights you're seeing here. The guy who owns this home, John, he tells me he screwed in his hurricane shutters, and the tornado ripped them right off. And here is John with us right now. John, can you talk about, the moments the tornado was coming through? What did you,
Yeah, it was a very scary moment. It's a lot of sounds, the pressure in. Now, I've never, Florida resident for 30 years, so I'm used to hurricanes, but not tornadoes. And that was the third tornado within an hour and a half. And the first one wasn't too bad. The second one got a little bit worse. And this one, we literally thought the house was coming apart. And you could hear sounds and banging. And apparently, we were in the back of the house, but you could still hear a 1,200-pound dumpster hit your garage, smash into 2 vehicles and hit your garage door. This is a friend of ours' car who came over here to be safe. And there's a dumpster on the hood of her car. That car is totaled, and we have one in the garage that is still in pristine condition. I can't get it out. So
and it's not just, your yard, it's the entire community.
No, if you look down, if you go down this whole, everybody who had their cars in their driveway for probably 7 or 8 houses that way, all their cars are destroyed. They're totaled.
Thank you, John, so much. We wish you the best of luck. And in this area, we are seeing blown out windows, blown out doors, all caused by tornadoes. And this is just an example of destruction. And actually, the St. Lucie County Sheriff, he has confirmed that there have been deaths due to these tornadoes. And they are expecting this to be a long night. Back to you guys in studio.
Thank you so much for that report. That guy made a very good point that in Florida, we're not necessarily used to tornadoes.
Right. It's something that we say, this is one thing you can expect, but this has been very top heavy in tornadoes when you look at the numbers. So, you know, we'll talk to them a little bit, talk to our meteorologists about it in a little bit, but more than 100?
Yeah, that's what we're hearing from Candace. We'll check back in with them. But this guy says that he was putting up his hurricane shutters. So we're prepared for hurricanes, but this tornado came in and just ripped them right down.
And he said he'd never seen it, had never dealt with a tornado, then got 3.
So
that's just why it's so unpredictable. But well over 2 million Floridians. We're at about 2.6 million Floridians without power right now. Great deal of those outages in the Tampa Bay area. You can see from these traffic cameras this footage shortly after 10 p.m. showing streetlights flashing on and off along the Pinellas Bayway in St. Pete. Numerous residents there reporting transformers blowing out as the storm lashed the city. Hardy County, just south of Polk County, almost 100% without power right now because of the storm. And we had talked about how these transformers have sort of a self-repair mechanism where for a moment you might think the power is coming back on and then it goes back out because it just can't sustain these types of conditions.
Right, and we see those transformers blow all the time during hurricanes. So hopefully that power will start to be restored pretty soon. Let's check in with News 6 investigator Mike DeForest, who is live in the Villages. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Lewis, how's it going? Got a little bit of a lull here. We've been in the Villages all night, and since we weren't in the direct path of the storm, we did not get, and we wouldn't have expected to get, extremely strong winds and rain, but it has been consistent. This is about the least that it's rained in probably the last couple hours, and the wind gusts are a lot lower than they have been. Although I will point out that there was one point, maybe about an hour or so ago, that we were actually getting much stronger wind gusts up here in the Villages than my colleague Eric Sandoval was getting down in Kissimmee, right where the eye of the storm was, closer to that area. So even though we're so spread out here, but again, we did not expect that. I think early on in this night, when nobody knew exactly where this storm was going to go, there was a lot of concern up here in the Villages. We have a lot of new residents here who have either recently retired or only recently moved down here in the last 5 or 10 years and may not have experienced a storm like this one. And so there was a lot of concern going into it, not just the people living here, but since this is the Villages and we got a lot of snowbirds, some folks who were out of state and worried about how their homes will survive. And I can't speak for all of the Villages or all of Sumter County, but I do know that this area that we are in right here has survived extremely, extremely well. Again, because we have not had just the extreme wind and rain that some other parts of Florida have. Like certainly along the Gulf Coast, although now we are starting to get some gusts picking up again. We're not even really seeing landscaping get ripped up. These are all one-story homes here that were very recently built with modern building codes, so built to withstand these type of hurricanes, and this was really no problem. Again, I can't speak for all of the Villages, but right now in this area, they've weathered the storm well. It's not over yet. I saw that, looked at the radar, we were in a little bit of a lull. Looks like we may have one more significant wave come through here before we're really kind of out of the path. But so far, so good out here, Lewis.
Okay, Mike, thank you so much. Not quite out of the woods, but it sounds like you're on your way out of the woods. Thank you so much, Mike. And Mike was talking about people moving here and not being used to hurricanes. So I've been here for 23 years. I moved here in 2001. And when I moved here, I asked about hurricanes, and people said to me, oh, we're so far inland. You don't have to worry about it. That was 2001. And then in 2004, we got smacked back to back to back. I think it was Charlie, Francis, and Jean.
Yes.
And I was not prepared because I had never experienced it, you know?
Yeah, I was in South Carolina reporting at the time, and I went to many areas that were inland to cover tropical storms. I was in Myrtle Beach for Charlie because they were concerned about that surge coming back in, hitting the East Coast. Myrtle Beach had shut down and evacuated, and we were fortunate enough to get with some crews that were able to, you know, set up just much like our crews at some of these shut down hotels and sort of take shelter there to safely report on the storm. And it's just so different every single time. And so whether you're new here and you're going through this, or you've been here a long time like us, and you know, it just, you don't know what's going to happen. You just have to take those precautions and know that You have to wait for the sun to come up when these things hit overnight, and that, you know, we're not done yet.
Right, and we get thousands and thousands of people moving to Florida every month, and so a lot of people are dealing with storms for the first time. So it's nice to see people take those precautions. Let's get out to Brevard County. James Sparvero is now in Cape Canaveral, and James, you're a little south of you. We saw a bank and a hair salon in Cocoa Beach with some bad damage.
Hey, Bridget. Hi, Lewis. Good morning. Yeah, one more time tonight, folks, I'm going to give you a recap of that tornado damage in Cocoa Beach. So it's really the first significant damage from the hurricane that we can report hours ahead of the hurricane arriving and exiting Florida, we believe, through Brevard County. But at about 6 o'clock tonight at the Publix Plaza, south of 520, there's a Supercuts and a Florida Eye Associates, and severely damaged. The building itself was okay, but the building was built with so much glass around it, and all of those windows were just blown out. And the video we have was very jarring when we put our camera in there, and you could see the extent of the damage. If not totally destroyed, definitely severely destroyed. We'll see how they choose to rebuild. Across the street, the Wells Fargo Bank was really badly hit too. The roof collapsing. Brevard County Fire Rescue says it was about 8 buildings and homes in total that were damaged, and that included Cocoa Beach Mayor Keith Capizzi. He actually posted a video on Facebook of the moment he says the tornado struck his house. His yard was damaged a little bit too. But everybody okay in Brevard County. We're fortunate for that. And now back in Cape Canaveral at this hour, as we think maybe the storm will pass through at about 6 this morning or so, we're doing okay. It's less windy and less gusty than it was when I joined you an hour ago. I have had to put the rain jacket back on. But we're hoping, Bridget and Lewis, that we actually may have seen the worst of the storm, that tornado, but we will see. Back to you guys.
James, thank you so much for that report. We appreciate it. We'll check in with you a little bit later.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that, you know, that they weren't able to board up, or maybe just made a decision not to board up there, but the glass just can't withhold the winds like that on the coast.
Yeah, and everybody has to make that decision, how much they prepared, you know, and maybe it's they boarded up in the past and didn't have a problem. Yeah. You just never know.
All right, well, we want to tell you about pins. We hope that you can safely share with us any footage from your vantage point, because, you know, we can't be everywhere, and we like to get those weather videos and pictures that you may have of what you've been able to experience, or maybe your family and friends are sending you. So you can pin those, scan the QR code on your screen right now, and you can upload weather pictures and videos. And we want to see how the Hurricane Milton's impacting you and yours. Of course, make sure that you are sending pictures and videos from a safe space, because it's not worth it.
That's right. And if you're seeing blue flashes in the sky around your home, remember that is not lightning. It's an electrical issue. And thanks to one of our viewers for sending in this video of a transformer sparking those blue lights in Cocoa Beach. So this is what we always hear when we have all of those press conferences from the emergency operations centers, when they talk about when the storm has passed and it's still dark. Don't go outside.
It's so dangerous because you can't see if there's an active power line maybe somewhere around your yard, or in the water that you might touch that could be an electrocution risk. So,
and I know people are tempted because people want to check on their property, they want to see if they have any damage, but it is still very dangerous when it's still dark outside.
Even for
like
our
this.
emergency workers and our linemen, so dangerous for them as they get out there. So please stay put in your safe place.
Yeah, and another big issue is flooding for us. This is Orlando's College Park neighborhood. It got hit hard by flooding. Take a look at this video sent to us around 1:30 this morning, and take a look at the car in front. You can see the water is up covering part of the rim of the tire. And this is, I'm not familiar with College Park flooding too often. So, and that's the thing with these storms now. We're starting to see areas that don't typically flood. We saw that during Ian. You know, and so a lot of people don't even have flood insurance if you don't live in a flood zone. But now, you know, it's time to think about that because
and
we're
just,
seeing that.
you know, one of our friends talking about how the flood insurance hadn't kicked in yet, because when you get flood insurance, there's a certain, you know, month-long waiting period for it to kick in. So if you don't have it, think about investing in that, because then you still have to wait another month, and we're not done with hurricane season. So, you know, send in that picture or video, again, if you have it and can safely share it. We'd like to see it and tell your part of the story. Or you can go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload those pictures and videos that way. But it is so dangerous out there in the dark.
Yeah, so be careful, be safe, but we do like seeing those pictures and videos because it helps us tell the story and assess, you know, the damage that's going on.
And it's growing so much here, like you said, that so places that are flooding now maybe that didn't before, with all the new construction, whether it's new roadways or it's new neighborhoods. And so there are building codes in place now, thankfully, that, you know, require a certain amount of strength in the structure. There are codes that require a certain amount of runoff around certain square acres in these neighborhoods to help take on that water when we get all this tropical weather.
And I have reported on some issues with new construction. I'm glad you brought that up because we have reported on some issues where new construction is being built. The codes have changed. So homes are being built higher up now. But when that happens, they end up flooding their neighbors. And so that is an issue. But right now, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. And Candace, how are we doing right now?
It's still windy and it's still very, very rainy. Unfortunately, we are still dealing with some pretty strong winds at this point in time. Mike. Mike. Okay, here it is. Sorry, I turned it off. I took a lap around the newsroom. All right, looking here at those wind gusts, we are still talking about hurricane force wind gusts at this point in time in areas of Leesburg right now, about 77 miles per hour there in the Leesburg area. That is officially hurricane force gusts. 30 miles per hour there in Cape Canaveral, but just to the south, though, the speed is almost double that in Melbourne and Mico with 60 miles per hour, again, gusting. And then right where Molly Reed was just a few moments ago, wind gusts have picked up now to 71 miles per hour. You can see kind of this overall spin going on right now. This is kind of the overall core of Milton. And the thing with this core, it's not a well-defined center of circulation. This is not a defined eye like it was a few hours ago before it made landfall there. But at the end of the day, a lot of that energy has been already pulsed out from within the center there. So we are going to continue to see that potential of this kind of broad circulation still spinning up that concern for still several hours of still debris kind of blowing around in the wind. All right, we are talking about the other concern, guys, is the flash flooding. We've already racked up between 5 to 9 inches of rainfall, and we could tap on another 3 to 6 inches in some spots. So for that reason, we still have this flash flood warning in effect until at least 4:30 in the morning. So we still have another hour and a half or so before we can actually take that down. But overall, you can see a big portion of Central Florida still dealing with some moderate to heavy rain. The real zone still, once again, is in areas of Apopka into right there along the I-4 corridor. Now, this zone right here, basically from Apopka and Orlando northward into Daytona Beach, that I-4 corridor, a lot of the models have been really honing in on how much rain this area could have. It's been very consistent on how much rain, still talking about double digits, between 12 to 15 inches when this is all said and done. And unfortunately, the rain's got to go somewhere. On top of that, besides the breeze and besides the strong winds that we're dealing with right now, is we're also dealing with those river levels. They're starting to rise. But even if you're thinking to yourself, it doesn't matter to you if the river levels are going up or going down, the rivers are connected to every waterway practically in all of Central Florida. So if we are starting to see a lot of these river levels starting to crest, like Little Archiva River in Altamont Springs, the St. John's, obviously, when we start seeing that, that is going to have a domino effect across a big portion of Central Florida. So just to be aware of that. If you have retention ponds in your neighborhood, everything is connected here in Central Florida when it comes to those overall wind concerns and rain concerns. Lewis, you did mention a little earlier in the newscast, we were asking about the tornado threat, if that was still a concern. We had 133 in the entire state of tornado warnings within about, I'd say, 5 to 6 hours here in Central Florida. We finished off with 27 in our local area between only about 1 and I believe 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was a rapid 1-2 punch of a lot of these confirmed tornadoes. Some of those videos that you were showing further south, it was just unbelievable pictures when you start to see the absolute magnitude that these tornadoes got to. Of course, James there talking to us about the one in Cocoa Beach. We had another signature that was extremely strong, moving through Yeehaw Junction into Holopah, Deer Park. We did not get any updates from that, Lewis.
I want to go back to those tornadoes. Is that some sort of record? We saw that guy in Miami saying that 3 came back to back.
And we had some of those cells that they would tighten up, create a tornado, weaken, and then tighten up again and create another spin. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the record is. I'm not sure how many of those were officially confirmed. We obviously have ready reports of fatalities from some of these tornadoes. We have a lot of damage. We have damage even here in Central Florida. So I'm not sure, but it was kind of the way that the system is kind of stacked up, because this was a tropical storm that was kind of transitioning more extratropical. We had that dry air really punching in across the southern half of Milton. So that was giving it the extra kind of instability, that little dry slot. And then you had that upper level trough that was coming in from the north, which is what actually was dragging Milton across the state. So that was giving it extra shear. So shear, that instability of the dry and moist air kind of mixed in, created that big time concern, which is why those supercells, if you remember the day before, so that was Tuesday, that potential of those supercells, we were seeing a lot of those signatures, and it verified exactly. That's why we were stressing to folks to make sure that they were in place by 12 o'clock. By 1 o'clock, we were firing on all cylinders when it came to that tornado warning.
Candace, we are getting some updates from Jonathan Kagis that the river, Little Wekiva River, reaching 29.5, still rising, multiple structures flooded, and water rescues may be needed, and that Spring Oaks neighborhood has had major floodings with rescues likely necessary. Roads impassable, several inches of water in some homes, and so probably floods coming to Astor, and they're still observing this. And that's one of the things, like that flood watch and warning in effect still for how much longer, because water's still moving around here.
Right, yes, rain is still falling. Then at the end of the day, the rain needs to run off and then start feeding into a lot of our waterways. So the problem is that the Little Wekiva River, that one is the one that's catching the most attention, because it hasn't been a gradual climb like we were forecasting with all the other river levels. This one just jumped from basically no flood stage to major flood stage, and is now surpassing what the forecast was along that river. And that's basically in and around San Lando. We had issues with Little Wekiva River, especially during Hurricane Ian. I'll re-rack the show. I'll give you kind of another breakdown of those river levels, refresh the radar for you, and I'll give you kind of a better in-depth look at Little Wekiva. But at the end of the day, the water right now is the biggest threat. It is not the tornadoes. The winds are certainly gusting out there. The winds are howling, all that. But at the end of the day, the rainfall right now is what's going to be the biggest concern, at least throughout the next few hours. All right, let's talk about those strong wind gusts. We've been clocking a lot of them over the last couple of hours. Meteorologist Michelle Morgan is standing by with more.
Yeah, thanks so much, Candace. Yeah, meteorologist Samara Coquinos just updated the numbers here. So Daytona Beach, we're at 81 miles per hour. Cape Canaveral, 77 miles per hour. And Winter Haven, 73 miles per hour. Sanford, 63 miles per hour. And Melbourne at 62 miles per hour. And many locations are on the backside of this storm, so we may see these numbers go up as we go through the next several hours. Now, timing on the strongest wind. Now that Milton continues to move off to the east here, we're still dealing with strong winds. We're still dealing with heavy rain for really our eastern counties here. So Volusia County, right now we are expecting those strong winds to continue through now and 7 o'clock this morning. Again, right now you are seeing some winds. You'll get the backside of it as it pulls off over the ocean here. Already continuing to see winds, strong winds over the metro area. That will last through 6 o'clock. And then winds will still be pretty breezy through today, but not as strong as they are right now across Central Florida. Now, so far in the last 12 hours, you can see that purple kind of jumping out at you. Again, this is radar estimated. Some locations picked up over 13 inches of rainfall in a very short period of time. Now, Candace was talking about the river levels, how that is going to be a big problem for many locations that not only live near river levels, if you live near a retention pond or something like that, again, all of the waterways are connected. So we're looking at Claremont, Leesburg, Mascot, Apopka, Orlando, all the way to Deltona, picking up almost 10 to 13, 14 inches of rainfall, and then areas in red up to 7 and 8, and I'm sure there's locally higher amounts, guys.
Michelle, thank you. Let's check back in with News 6 investigator Eric Sandoval, who is live in Kissimmee. And Erica, looks like it's still coming down out there. We know that there are areas that are prone to flooding in that area. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, and I'll get to the flooding areas in just a second, Louis. But, you know, since the last I talked to you, I think it was a little bit more calm. But I just confirmed with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos that the storm has basically crossed over us here in Osceola County in the Kissimmee area. What we're seeing now is the backside of the storm that Michelle was talking about. So that means the whole, the wind direction here has shifted in the opposite direction. These palm trees right here, all night they have been blowing this way. Now, with the wind picking back up, they're going this way. We can only hope that this isn't going to last long, because I'm going to be honest with you, we got really spoiled with the lighter wind and the no rain. So we were sort of thinking that was going to be a permanent thing for a while, but Mother Nature had different ideas. Another thing this is going to do, this is also going to ground first responders. I think when we talked to you last, we actually saw some Osceola County Sheriff's deputies and some fire crews and some ambulances. It didn't look like any of them were responding to any emergencies. It looked like they were, you know, basically assessing the situation, seeing if the roads were clear, seeing if anybody needed immediate help. I've been listening to the scanner for Osceola Fire Rescue. It's quiet right now. We have some medical episodes, but I haven't heard anything about any rescue attempts or anybody needing a rescue. That does not mean that neighborhoods are not flooded, though. You know, you and I have spoken at length, Louis, about some of the areas here in Osceola County, areas you covered during Hurricane Ian that were submerged, basically. We're waiting for this storm to give it its last punch. Milton's holding on for dear life, and after Milton passes, we're going to be venturing out into the community to see what we can find. But even while we've been talking, whew, you can see the wind has really picked up and the rain has picked up too. We'll be watching it for you. Bring another live shot coming up. Back to you.
Eric, thank you so much. I know what it's like covering a storm and have everything calmed down and you think it's over and then it picks up again. So hang in there, brother.
Our luck.
We'll check in with you a little bit later. Thank you, Eric. And right now, some of the worst weather is in Volusia County, where Milton's outer bands are pushing through Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach, and New Smyrna Beach. We'll have a live report from Ezzy Castro coming up in the next 30 minutes. And Orange County has also been inundated with rain from Milton for several hours now, and in some spots there is flooding.
Including right outside our studios here at WKMG. News 6's Troy Campbell has that update.
Here in Orange County, things are a lot better than they were. At about 1 a.m., things got a little dicey, a lot of rocking and rolling with some strong winds, followed by some heavy rain. However, once during the 2 a.m. hour, that did start to lighten up. If you take a look, you can see in this parking lot right here, water is starting to pile up and there is debris as well. Earlier in the evening, we did also see transformers sparking and lighting up the skies. We saw alarms going off at some buildings as power outages happen. Thankfully, we didn't see many vehicles out on the roadway, which is a good thing. We did only also see one first responder vehicle, a fire truck. And then at one point overnight, the city of Orlando stopped responding to emergencies, let people know that the winds were over 40 miles an hour. So county officials say going into this storm, they handed out 200,000 sandbags because there could be flash flooding. If you take a look over here, here, you can see where water has backed up from this ditch and started to come up into this parking lot, which could be the case. We saw during Ian, a lot of apartment complexes, this happened. When I spoke to Orange County Commissioner Monica Uribe, she said that that was something she was concerned about. People might not realize where you park your car might end up being a very important decision. Also, when we had those strong winds, it did serve as a reminder why Orlando International Airport did have to close with those extreme bands that we did have come through here. Also on that, with the extreme wind, it shows why 1,300 people did go to shelters in Orange County, that according to Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings. In Orlando, Troy Campbell, Getting Results, News 6.
We certainly like to hear when people take advantage of those shelters. There were several of them open, and so 1,300 people, glad they did that.
Yes.
And we had tornado warnings across Central Florida earlier, and right now there is damage in several parts of Cocoa Beach from apparent tornado touchdowns.
We are talking about businesses, homes, even the mayor's home. News 6's James Sparvero has a recap of some of that damage.
This is where the area of the tornado warning was earlier. Now, around that time at 5:30 this afternoon, I was in Cape Canaveral. I was looking to the sky. I didn't see anything. I thought we dodged a bullet. And then we came here and we got a totally different idea of what really happened. So I want to point out where I'm at. I'm at the Publix south of 520. There's two Publixes in Cocoa Beach. So not the Publix that's north of 520 by the pier. We're at the Publix that's south of the 520. Now, the Publix structure and the rest of the stores over there, they look just fine. They are separate, however, from the two businesses that are right here where I'm standing. This is the Supercuts in Cocoa Beach and also the Florida Eye Associates. So the Supercuts, the lights are on. That's about all that's on because the damage is pretty extreme, guys. Severe damage, if not totally destroyed, likely to be confirmed to be tornado damaged. So Corey will take the camera and he'll give you a look inside as best he can. Can you guys see that in here? Can you see just how bad that is?
That's awful. Oh my, that's a bit. Yeah, that's the Supercuts. Wow.
It was the Supercuts, right? So the Supercuts in Cocoa Beach, right off of A1A, and there's just shattered glass everywhere. I'll point out when you look at this building, the foundation of the building itself looks fine, but the entire building was designed with glass all around it. And I think that was the problem in this case, why all the windows just got shattered and blown out. And the damage extends around 360 degrees of the entire building. So now we're walking down to the Florida Eye Associates. This was the eyeglass store here in Cocoa Beach that Corey's going to show you next. And just like the Supercuts, the windows are blown out, so we can get our camera right inside and we can show you the extent of the damage. Just tell me again, Ginger and Lisa, do you see everything we're looking at? How's it looking?
We definitely see it. That is heartbreaking when you see that. Are you seeing a case of it hit one place and then missed another?
Well, I think that's, what I was just trying to explain about. The rest of the shopping center here looks fine, but these two businesses are in this sort of a duplex where they're separate. They're closer to A1A. And beyond A1A, the light is out right there at A1A and Banana River that you can probably notice, and there's some damage to guardrails too. Now, fortunately, I don't believe anybody was here. That is some good news. But you can obviously tell this was the waiting room, and it looks like maybe, they didn't board up, obviously. There's no sign of any plywood or any hurricane shutters. Although, I just noticed they did wrap their computers in plastic, but that was about it. And
so when all of this was happening,
a lot more.
James, when there were those tornado warnings earlier today, where were you and Corey?
So Corey and I were about, I want to say 3 or 4 miles to the north. That's the distance. We were at the Spring Hill Suites. Spring Hill Suites is one of the newer modern hotels. If you want to be anywhere during a storm, that's probably the safest place you can be. And we were under the carport where you would drop yourselves off there in front of the hotel. And it did get pretty rough. It got really rough around 5:30 or 5:45. A lot of rain. It was very continuous. And I looked to the sky. I was trying to spot if we could see a tornado forming. At that time, I was also listening to our broadcast And Jonathan and Candace were saying, I want to keep walking around the building just so we can show you as much damage as we can, by the way. They were calling it a water spout at that time. But I also remember as we continued our coverage, they said that that water spout was making its way toward land. We took pictures of our port camera. So maybe that's where it was. Maybe that's what happened. But it was about 6 o'clock then that it got calm suddenly, and I thought we were out of the woods. But you always have that waiting period after you get some activity to see if there was really damage. And yeah, we found it here in Cocoa Beach off of A1A. The police were here earlier. They've left for now. And the only other people we're seeing here right now are other media or just people in the community who are curious, because about an hour and a half ago when we first got here, I did do a Facebook Live. So that was me for the first time letting people know what happened. And as that's circulating and as other reports are circulating from other outlets about what happened here, people have been coming out to see the damage. Again, if you're just joining us, it looks to be confirmed tornado damage here at the Supercuts and the Florida Eye Associates, the eyeglass store in Cocoa Beach. It's at the Publix Plaza. Maybe you just drive by here all the time and you just know the shopping center for the Publix and you're not as familiar with the other stores, but it's right here. It's right in front of A1A and Banana River, I believe, is the cross section. It's across the street from the Hilton and the Twin Towers condos. And again, Lisa and Ginger, we wanted to do a 360 around the building because the damage is very extensive. It's very severe. So we're going to peek in over here where we can give you another look inside at what's left of the old Supercuts in Cocoa Beach.
Yeah, James, I don't know if you can pan your camera just south of you, but there's the Wells Fargo Bank just south of you, and we were seeing pictures and reports of that building also sustaining pretty extensive damage, roof damage along there. I don't know if you've seen that today.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, we can point that out now, too. There's an urgent care facility. So the damage really extends around the A1A and Banana River Boulevard, I believe, is the crossroad here. The guardrail damage. And then across the street, I'm not looking at the Wells Fargo, actually. I'm looking at the urgent care building, the medical group building. But they, too, it looks like had their windows blown out. And it looks like there's people already up there trying to board up for what we still have to go through, because of course this was just the start of the bad weather, and we're not going to see the storm pass through Brevard County until the overnight hours, and when it's here, as we expect, it will be about a Category 1. So yeah, I can see them with their drills. And again, I'm not looking at the Wells Fargo. Okay, the Wells Fargo I think is at the intersection and the lights are out. I think I'm looking at it right here. I think it's that building, Corey, but we won't be able to give people too good of a view, at least not this second, unless we were to cross the street, because it looks like their lights are out. Yeah, that's the Wells Fargo building right here. And it's actually my first time taking a look, and if we got up close, we might have something to show you, but I don't really see anything, Corey. Yeah, I don't see anything that looks like the damage would be comparable anyways to the Supercuts or the eyeglass store. But yeah, certainly on the second story there of the urgent care building, it's Shade Tree Dermatology and Urgent Care. On the second story there, yeah, you can see some more damage up there. Windows were blown out, and there's currently some people right now doing their best to put something in those windows, some plywood, before the rest of the storm comes through, the rest of the night, prevent any further damage. But yeah, this is really the first damage of any kind significantly that I've been able to report here in Brevard County. Yesterday was just a calm day, basically. The only breaking news we had was that the Health First Hospital in Cape Canaveral, the Cape Canaveral Hospital as they call it, it's in Cocoa Beach, that they were evacuating 27 patients just out of a precaution. That was really all we had to report yesterday. And we had the tornado warning suddenly. You know, you really didn't hear a whole lot from Brevard County's emergency management updates when it came to the possibility of tornadoes a little bit. They focused on what they expected from the storm itself, I think, once it got here. So winds in the area of maybe 70 or 80 miles per hour being a Cat 1, and maybe rainfall in the neighborhood of 3 to 6 inches, and they mentioned maybe as much as a foot in the worst areas, or those low-lying flood, those areas that are prone to flooding. But I did see a post this afternoon from Cocoa Beach's mayor, Keith Capizzi, and he was talking on Facebook how he was really concerned about these tornado warnings because they're sudden, they're unpredictable, they can cause a lot of damage very quickly. And yeah, as we've been showing you now for the past 5 minutes, that's what's happened to the Supercuts and the Florida eyewear store.
That was James Sparvero reporting. And don't forget, scan the QR code on your screen right now and send us your weather pictures and videos. We want to see how Milton is impacting where you live. Of course, make sure you're sending those pictures and videos from a safe place. And here's one out of Osceola County. Those transformers blowing. Thanks to one of our viewers in Kissimmee for sending us this Nest camera footage of what they say starts as a fire in a tree before causing an explosion and power outage in the neighborhood.
In Tavares, Joseph sent in this video of wind and rain in that neighborhood. Trees blowing in the wind and sheets of rain pouring into the streets. Here's the QR code again on your screen. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way. Again, we urge safety and caution with that. Of course, don't want you going out into any conditions right now. The sun won't be up until 7:15-ish this morning. So even after the sun comes up, we still need to be really careful about if we get out to look around at anything. There could be down power lines, flash flooding. You just don't know.
Absolutely. But those videos and pictures do help us piece together and tell the story of how much damage is out there. So first responders are staging right now in Osceola County. When the wind starts to die down, they'll head out and respond to 911 calls.
And Trooper Steve was in that busy staging area.
Down here at Osceola Heritage Park, where our team has obviously said winds are going to start to pick up, and that's exactly what's happening here. All first responders have been ordered to shelter in place at this point, wherever they're at. Trying to get my bearings here. And there is a huge presence of law enforcement officers and first responders right here at Osceola Heritage Park, where they are basically staging. We're calling this rescue headquarters, because once things clear out, the fire department and the National Guard will be out on the road. Osceola County is currently under a curfew, obviously starting right around 8 p.m. But I'll tell you, I haven't seen a soul on the road at this point. What we have seen are many transformers blowing along US 192 and then that parallel residential road back there off of Neptune. The sheriff has said if you have to get on the road, it better be for an extreme emergency at this point. The curfew's in place, and if these deputies, these firefighters, even city law enforcement officers are being ordered to shelter in place because of the winds, you shouldn't be anywhere either. Come about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start to see heavier winds here in Osceola County, and we will be sheltering in place right here with those first responders as well. So stick with us, because once this clears out, we're going to be joining them to assess the damage and see what rescues need to be done.
All right, thanks, Trooper Steve. And speaking of our first responders, rescues that need to be done, a place that was supposed to provide shelter for them had part of its roof blown off here. This is Tropicana Field. Really stunning video here. You know, this is a state-of-the-art facility, but Milton made a mess of it at landfall in St. Petersburg. Winds ripped away part of the roofing. Many of the tiles and tarping there pulled away, flapping in the winds. Tropicana Field, of course, home of the Tampa Bay Rays, also where, again, like we said, lots of linemen, National Guardsmen, and other first responders were going to be stationed as their base to help with storm recovery. Beds, cots, other supplies scattered all over the place there on the playing surface, because we showed you yesterday how they had it all laid out nice and neat, ready to be a shelter for them. But the stadium was built to withstand winds up to 115 miles per hour. No reports of any injuries, so that is the good news there. But it just goes to show, even with, state-of-the-art facilities, this wind, the rain, these types of conditions with hurricanes show no mercy.
And you know what, Bridget, I have friends who live 2 blocks from Tropicana Field. They evacuated to Orlando, so I am sure when they see that, they are wondering how their house is. Let's check back in with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. And Candace, we saw Molly was still getting it.
Right.
We saw Eric Sandoval in Osceola County still getting it. So this rain is still coming down.
And so we are still seeing a big chunk of Central Florida dealing with a lot of that rain. We'll get to that in just a quick second here. But the interesting thing, I've been texting back and forth with Eric Sandoval here in the kind of the Kissimmee area. And just like what we dealt with Eric Von Aken, the start of the kind of that center core of Milton wasn't too bad. And then all of a sudden on the back side of it, as that dry air helped kind of rush in on the back side of it, now is when conditions are getting pretty wild right now in areas of Osceola County. So if you're watching us from Osceola into areas of Polk County, this is going to be kind of the worst of it. So it certainly seems as Milton's kind of the backside of the storm is certainly going to continue to lash a big portion of Osceola County at this point in time. So this is what the radar looks like as of 3:27 in the morning. We are still hearing the howling and the winds. That is pretty much all area wide. The wind speeds do fluctuate a bit, but we will get to that in just a second. Right now, the rain, though, it is coming down and it's extremely widespread across areas, basically north of basically the center of Milton. And that has been something that we've been talking about, the potential of producing a big swath of very heavy rain all the way up and down the I-4 corridor. Now, we do have flash flood warnings in effect. So you can see this includes areas of northern Orange, northern Lake County, all of Seminole County, and into Volusia. So if you're watching us in Volusia County, you guys are getting kind of the worst, the heaviest of the rain for the last couple of hours. And you guys are unfortunately going to continue to rack up plenty of rain as this will still have to kind of spin out of here. It's going to take some time. And that is why we do have those flash flood warnings in place for most of our I-4 corridor counties, with the exception of Osceola County. You can obviously see, though, that the bulk of the rain, just like what we were talking about in the forecast, is all north of the main center. And the center, though, by the way, already starting to shift into Brevard County. So let's look at the winds right now. Right now, we are clocking winds. I think that is the strongest wind we have, the strongest wind gusts. Samaria, check this out. 84-mile-per-hour wind gusts right now in Daytona Beach. I think that might be the strongest one we have. That is definitely Category 1 hurricane wind gusts. Right now, we're getting close to hurricane force winds there in DeLand at 74 miles per hour. But look at Kissimmee. For the last few hours, I've been watching this one closely as Eric Sandoval has been there, and the winds have been gusting about 30, sometimes 40 miles per hour. But again, it's on that backside where it's getting really, the conditions are really starting to whip. Look at behind Winter Haven, Lakeland. We are clocking winds of 63 to 62 miles per hour, and we're now starting to get up there with Kissimmee up to about 59, close to hurricane strength in Claremont, wind gusts at 74, and Leesburg there at 67 miles per hour. So as this pulls away, areas in Orange County, Brevard County, you think that you've been dealing with the worst of the wind. This system certainly has history of actually having worse wind on the backside of it. And we saw that exactly with Eric Von Aken, where the storm was coming in. It didn't seem too bad. It was a little bit of rain. He had that lull in the center of the eye as he was just a few miles away from the official landfall. And then it was the backside of that system that lashed the strongest of the winds. And that's what finally brought in some of that storm surge that we've been reporting all night long. So this is the latest update. We get those hourly updates since Milton is still overhead. As of 3 a.m. has sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. That means at this point in time, we're still holding on to Category 1 strength of this storm. So modeling still showing that it could continue as a Cat 1 as it finally emerges out to sea. And this system has moved a little faster than previously expected, which is great news, because if this thing slowed down anymore, that would be a big time concern when it comes to the rainfall. And as it starts to emerge out into the Atlantic, the next concern, right? So it's been kind of a layered threat with the storm. We had first the tornadoes, then we had the flooding, then we have the wind, and the final stage is the storm surge. Unfortunately, as it continues to whip the winds back closer to shore, areas of Flagler, Volusia County, and northern Brevard County could still see storm surge up to about 3 to 6 feet. So a little bit more on the timing. How long will the winds continue to kind of lash parts of Central Florida? Right now, meteorologist Michelle Morgan is standing by with more.
Thanks so much, Candace. Yeah, just kind of a timeline on, again, many of us, we are dealing with those strong winds, especially on the backside, seeing those hurricane force, storm force wind gusts really expanding from the center of the system. That's why areas in Mascot, as well as Claremont, even the villages, are still dealing with very strong winds at the moment, even though the core, the real center of it is over our coastal area. As our system continues to move to the east, we'll continue to see the winds expand, and that means the winds will just get stronger as we go through the next couple of hours. So we're looking from Yeehaw Junction all the way to Kissimmee, Orlando, Apopka, even the villages. You will continue to deal with strong winds from now until 5 o'clock, where you could get wind gusts between 75, even 80 miles per hour. Closer to the coast, the Daytona Beach area, Palm Coast, Titusville, Rockledge, even Palm Bay. That's when you will see the strong winds between 4 to 6 o'clock this morning, maybe a little bit longer than that, where you could potentially see gusts up to that magnitude. So we're not finished with the strong winds quite yet. So it'll be pretty gusty, windy, as we go through the next couple of hours or so. So keep that in mind. Again, many of us are still dealing with that heavy rain across Central Florida. And waiting for my next graphic here, I do want to show you the wind gusts so far. Daytona Beach got 81 miles per hour, pretty strong there. Cape Canaveral, 77 miles per hour. Winter Haven, 73 miles per hour. Sanford, 63 miles per hour. And Melbourne at 62. And I do think that these numbers will go up. Back to you.
It's still going. Thank you, Michelle. And News 6 investigator Eric Sandoval live in Kissimmee, where we saw just a few minutes ago things were picking up again. Eric.
Yeah, and they continue to pick up even more, Bridget, so much so that we've had to actually seek shelter underneath this. But you can see even here the soffits of this roof line are undulating just a little bit in these high winds. We're watching the Disney gift sign over here, because as the winds picked up, we started hearing this rattling and this moaning, if you will, and we looked closely, and it looks like that sign is just about to blow off of its stand there. We've also heard a roar, and I guess the best word is a moan, when the wind really kicks up here. And you know, I can only compare it to when I was up in the Panhandle just a couple of weeks ago covering Hurricane Helene. Did you guys hear that?
Yes. Be careful.
Yeah, it's just crazy, but it's the exact same moan that we heard up in the Panhandle when Helene's eye wall came through the town of Perry. It's just this sound where you just look at the person next to you. I was looking at photojournalist Homer Salcedo, and both of us just looked at each other like, what was that? This is another reason why you don't want to hit the streets. You know, in the last half hour or so, we've seen several cars pass us by. They're not first responders. If you're at home right now and you think, oh, it's the eye is past us or the worst is over, not necessarily so, because just an hour ago, it was peaceful out here. It was very peaceful out here, and we thought the worst was over here, and we were making plans for what we were going to cover next this morning. But then the winds really, Then the winds really started picking up. And Candace, if you're within earshot, I think you guys are going to probably see some wind gusts in the next round of reporting from Kissimmee that are going to be putting this, if not at or beyond hurricane strength. because they have just been whipping down here. And here's the difference between, earlier this morning. We're on the backside of the storm, so the wind direction has shifted. So all night the winds have been going this way out of the east. Now they're coming, I want to say, from the northwest, and it's basically pulling debris and the strong winds right through that sign. And I just saw another car pass us by on 192. Again, don't venture out. Don't venture out if you don't have to. Candace, I understand you're within earshot. What are you seeing as far as wind speed going?
Yeah, Eric, right now we are clocking wind speeds, wind gusts, I should say, about 60, 65 at this point. And you're right, the winds are coming in out of the northwest. And something that I texted you and something that we were talking about is the way that Milton is set up, and as well as the kind of different dynamics of its surroundings. It's that backside, Eric, that we are looking at the worst of the weather. We saw it with Eric Von Aken at landfall. The first kind of eye wall was okay, right? And he was a little surprised by that. Then we got into the calm of the eye, the center of the eye, the clear center there. And then it was the backside that really kind of came in and lashed parts of the Gulf Coast. So what Eric is experiencing, we kind of talked about it on text messages. I was just saying, like, hey, just be aware, you're starting to see those winds shift, just like what we've been seeing for the past couple of hours. The worst of the weather's on the backside. We just had a viewer email us going, I'm in Leesburg. The center should have been past us by now, but now the winds are getting actually worse. That's the timing that we're talking about. It's that backside. So areas like right now in Orange and Seminole County, you might be saying, the winds aren't too bad. The winds are looking okay. But the problem is that center hasn't crossed your path yet. So when we start getting on that backside of that center, that's when we're going to have the concern. So I don't know if we can pop up links one real quick and kind of show you where that center is, kind of an estimate right now over areas that just kind of crossing into Brevard County. So you can see, look at the winds ahead of it, right? So areas like Cocoa Beach right now, we have sustained winds of 37 miles per hour, but on the backside, it's almost 10 miles an hour higher, okay? So you can see areas like Orlando, you're going to start getting on the kind of that backside as well. Sanford is now starting to clock up to 45 miles per hour, but Claremont, Leesburg right now getting closing in on hurricane force wind gusts. Areas in southern Brevard County, though, they've been cranking right now. Melbourne and as well as Mico up to about 60 miles per hour. So just like we've been talking about, the tornado threat, that came and went. The rainfall is still there, but we're starting to see some of those areas kind of tapering off a little bit. We're going to finish off with the wind, and then once it emerges, the storm surge. That is something that Molly's been really focused on. High tide is about this point in time, so as we start getting the system emerging out into the Atlantic, that concern is going to be shifting for our coastal communities as well.
So the concerns about surging, floods, these things are still going to be popping up. All right. Thank you, Candace.
You're
we'll
welcome.
see you soon.
Sure.
And we are following up on some breaking news we told you about with a firefighter hurt during battling a house fire.
And it was all sparked by a down power line. Now, this is happening in the Dover Shores neighborhood east of Conway Road. News 6's Ryan Welch is there live. And Ryan, what have you found out?
Here in the Conway area of Orlando, this is where late last night an Orlando firefighter was injured fighting a fire caused by a down power line. It all happened on Janine Court. This entire neighborhood is without power. Now, they had lost power before the fire took place. As you can see from the video that we shot a little bit earlier, they were able to put the fire out, but there is extensive damage to the roof, to the front of the house, and to the rear as well. If there's any good news in all this, it's that the Orlando firefighter was taken to Orlando Regional Medical Center and is listed in stable condition. A little while ago, we caught up with a woman named Tracy, who was a neighbor, and she saw the whole thing.
We just heard some pops. The lights had already gone out. The power went off from the transformer, and then a few minutes there was a pop, and my daughter came out to see what was going on, and she started screaming fire, and we came out of the house, and the whole side of the house was engulfed already, and the wind was just blowing so hard. I was afraid it was this house, so I was trying to make sure nobody was home, and everybody was calling 911. The neighbors came out.
Yeah, so it could obviously be worse. The good news was, again, that the firefighter is listed in stable condition and that nobody was home. They have contacted the people who live here. They obviously know what happened, but unfortunately, 2 cats were killed in the fire. So definitely a harrowing scene during what has been a troubling time for everyone in Central Florida and beyond. Reporting live from Orlando, Ryan Welch, Getting Results, News 6.
Ryan, thank you so much for that report. It's unfortunate about those pets. It's good news to hear that that firefighter is in stable condition. But you know, these storms can pop up all sorts of problems. Now you've got a house fire from a down power line. So there's a lot to look out for.
It is.
And now let's get over to Volusia County, where our coastal communities are feeling the impact from Milton.
News 6's Ezzy Castro live in Daytona Beach. Ezzy, we were just talking to Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos about our coast still going to be dealing with surge and high tide. How are things?
Well, good morning, guys. I mean, I got to tell you, first thing, I did not sleep last night at all. We're staying here at the Hard Rock at Daytona Beach. A bunch of us are staying here because this is the safest place to be right now for us, to give you guys exactly the report that we want to show you, you know, the conditions, because you can see right behind me what's going on. A lot of rain, a lot of wind. This is what the conditions have been like really over the last several hours. Our Molly Reed was out here giving you guys updates for a while as well. She told me, she gave me the rundown. You know, we did have high tide around 1 a.m. So we also received several alerts of a flash flood warning out here. So far, though, I will say, at least here in front of A1A, we have not seen any flooding so far. But let me tell you, if you guys saw our reports yesterday, I was out here yesterday, and it was raining all day. So you got to count all that rain as well from, you know, just 24 hours ago. So we can't see the beach in the back because it is just so dark out there. I wouldn't be able to show you what it looks like, but you can tell out here that the conditions aren't any good at all. And again, I mean, just the wind was pounding all night long. Okay, what was that, Goose? It's going sideways, he says. The rain is going sideways, as you can see. So, I mean, again, I don't even have to explain this. You can just tell how bad it is out here in Daytona Beach right now. But we're going to toss to video. Okay, so this is video, I think, from just a couple of hours ago. I know our Molly Reed was out there reporting on this. And I want to talk about curfew because Volusia County said there would be a curfew until 8 o'clock this morning. Reasons why: safety. In fact, we had a driver a few hours ago that went flying down here on A1A and took a traffic light with him, and pieces of the traffic light just flew and landed on this side where we were. Some of that debris was there as well. So, I mean, just things that you want to take to consideration. Do not go out on the road if you don't really need to. You definitely want to stay home because there is going to be a lot to deal with once the sun comes up and we get to see and have the access to see all the damage that we do expect later on today. But guys, yeah, I mean, this is a storm right now. This is what you're getting. This is what we're seeing. But again, I just want to remind the folks that we are safe. We're going in and out of the hotel real quick for our live shots because, you know, the conditions are not all that great, obviously.
One quick question for you. You were talking about the curfew, and we know that there were evacuation orders. Any reports, but anytime there are evacuation orders, you always have those people who stay back. Any reports of people needing to be rescued, particularly on those barrier islands?
So you know what, we haven't gotten any of those reports, and I spoke to Molly right before she was cleared just about maybe an hour ago. She said, I've been talking to some folks that I know, nothing really as an emergency of those calls of water rescue, high water rescue, nothing yet. But she did say that there are some folks in Edgewater that are dealing with a little bit of flooding. Nothing too crazy for now. They said it's maybe like about ankle length around there, but so far nothing like that. But yeah, that's what we've been told. We are checking. You know, I mean, I know that emergency officials are awake right now, making sure that things are going smoothly, but we haven't had any reports on that yet.
Okay, Ezzy, thank you so much for that report.
Yeah, those gusts are so strong right now, and you can see it even on the wind map, just over here over our shoulder. But, you know, we talked about how heavy the tornado volume was in this storm. Over 100 tornado warnings went out. We had over 27 locally reported here in the Orlando area. So this has been a problem across the state long before landfall last night with Milton.
Right, and unfortunately it appears one of them was in Brevard County, leaving behind some serious damage. News 6's James Barviero has the latest from the Space Coast.
Well, really the first significant damage of the hurricane in Brevard County to report. About 6 o'clock Wednesday night at the Publix Plaza, south of the 520 in Cocoa Beach, at a Supercuts and an eyeglass store, severe damage. Now, the building itself is okay, but when you look a little closer at the building itself, you see how it was designed. All of that glass around the building, and those windows were shattered. Our images were pretty jarring as we got a closer look ourselves. The damage inside the Supercuts and the Florida Eye Associates, very severe, if not a total loss. Definitely something that could take months, if maybe a year or so, to totally replace and rebuild. I think it's probably the most significant damage I've seen that I can remember from a hurricane in Brevard County since the roof of the Winn-Dixie was badly damaged in Cocoa Beach back in 2016 after Hurricane Matthew. The Wells Fargo Bank across the street was also hit bad too by that tornado. The roof collapsed. And overall, Brevard County Fire Rescue says about 8 buildings and homes were damaged. Fortunately, no one was hurt. In Cape Canaveral, Brevard County, I'm James Sparvero, getting results News 6.